Chapter 233 Chapter Stunning. 5. The Mo family is rich and wealthy with countless assets. They can afford as much money as they need. How could Lin Pingping possibly defraud people over such a small sum? Pingping, we know you wouldn't deceive us. You don't have to give us sample kits. Just order a set for us directly. Erase the money. You can keep it. Lin Pingping handed out a bunch of sample kits to the crowd. Even so, I should give you some sample kits first. I don't have any ready-made skincare products at the moment. You can try using them first. After all, everyone's skin type is different. The skincare products that work for my skin may not have the same effects on your skin. The others thought that what Lin Pingping said made sense, so they did not insist, and each took some samples and left. On the morning of the third day, Lin Pingping was still in bed when a piercing phone ring woke her up. Lin Pingping picked up the telephone receiver with half-closed eyes. "Hello." A surprised voice came from the other end of the phone. "Hello. Pingping. I'm Xiaoxiao. I used the skincare samples you gave me a few days ago. They are really amazing. Would you be able to buy a few sets for me?" Upon hearing this, Lin Pingping suddenly became more alert. But as soon as she hung up, the urgent phone ringing sounded again. This time it was also a call to order skincare products. Lin Pingping received more than a dozen calls that morning alone. Therefore, Lin Pingping decided not to sleep anymore. She got up, brushed her teeth, washed her face, and then went to work. During her lunch break, Lin Pingping went to Ni Yang's noodle restaurant and told her about the orders for the skincare products. Ni Yang smiled and said, "For now we have ample stock of facial cleanser and aloe vera gel, as well as 2 types of acne and freckle removal creams. But the whitening moisturizing cream is limited to 30 boxes per month and we only have 8 boxes left. For beauty, people are willing to pay any price. Under the promotion of Ni Qinggrui and Wang Meifeng, the high-end whitening moisturizing cream, priced at 108 yuan a box, sold 22 boxes in just a few days." Adhering to the principle of limited edition equals high value, Ni Yang planned not to produce too much at first. She planned to produce only 30 boxes per month to keep the consumers anticipating and maintain the product's high profile, before gradually increasing production. This is a kind of hunger marketing. Lin Pingping hurriedly said, "Yang, sell all the remaining 8 boxes of whitening moisturizing cream to me. Then I want 12 bottles of facial cleanser and aloe vera gel, and 13 bottles of each of the acne and freckle removal creams." To avoid missing out on any orders from her classmates, Lin Pingping even drafted a list. "Sure." Ni Yang nodded, "But I don't have any stock in hand right now. Should I bring them to you tomorrow morning?" "All right," Lin Pingping said, "I'll come and get them tomorrow morning. I want to pay you." Everything added up to a total of 46 bottles. The price of 8 boxes of whitening moisturizing cream is 864 yuan, while the remaining 38 bottles of facial cleanser and acne and freckle removal creams cost 940 yuan, totaling 1,804 yuan. Lin Pingping handed Ni Yang 1,900 yuan, and Ni Yang gave her back 200 yuan without saying much. Lin Pingping didn't think much of it. It was only after she left the restaurant that she realized that Ni Yang had given her 104 yuan extra. Lin Pingping promptly returned to the restaurant and gave Ni Yang the remaining money. Yang, you gave me too much change." Ni Yang smiled and said, "I didn't make a mistake. Auntie Ping, you gave me 2 yuan extra when you bought skincare products last time." About half a month ago, Lin Pingping came to buy skincare products. The total cost was 300 yuan, but Lin Pingping gave 400 yuan. Ni Yang chased after her, but Lin Pingping just ran off. Naturally, Ni Yang wouldn't accept the extra 2 yuan from Lin Pingping for no reason. The purpose of her starting the business was not to make money. If she accepted the extra 100 yuan from Lin Pingping, it would dilute the initial purpose of her business. Lin Pingping said, Yang, that was last time, this is this time." Ni Yang gave a faint smile and spoke lightly, "Auntie Ping, if you don't accept it, I might not dare to sell skincare products to you next time." With no choice, Lin Pingping had to accept the money, secretly deciding in her heart that she must help Ni Yang promote the skincare products more in the future. The influence of a good product is really great. Because when a product is good, consumers will recommend it to each other. This forms a circle, and this circle will only grow bigger. As a result, the reputation of Crystal Clear will also grow. Chapter 234 Chapter Stunning. _6. Recently, Ni Yang's income from selling skincare products alone had exceeded 6,000 yuan. Adding the revenue from the noodles and milk tea sales, and after deducting the cost of store renovation, her savings had now exceeded 20,000 yuan. The birthday banquet of the old Madame Mo was just around the corner, so Yang had been thinking about what gift to prepare for the old lady in the last few days. Mo family were indeed affluent, and items costing just a few or hundred yuan certainly wouldn't catch the old lattice's attention. Yet anything too expensive was out of Yang's reach. Therefore, although the birthday gift wouldn't need to be too costly, it was essential to show sincerity. She must strike out a new path for herself and grasp an opportunity. Thinking about it, Yang narrowed her eyes slightly, an idea forming in her mind. The morning of the 8th. Looking neat and tidy, Mo Qixin rode his precious bicycle to the noodle restaurant to pick up Yang. As he arrived, a jeep pulled up. The car window rolled down, revealing a handsome face. "Uncle, are you here to pick up Yang?" The one who came was none other than Mo Baichuan. Mo Qixin smiled faintly. "That's right, do you have any advice, nephew?" Mo Baichuan's eyes held countless scorn as he looked at Mo Qixin. "Uncle, you can't seriously think that Yang is interested in you, can you?" Mo Qixin said nothing. His nephew seemed to have too much time on his hands lately. Mo Baichuan continued, "I told you that Yang has been close to you only because of me. She wants to get close to me. Otherwise, would Yang be interested in a loser like Mo Qixin? What a joke." Yet, Mo Qixin was a foolish romantic, really believing Yang would be interested in him. Sitting on his bicycle with his long legs touching the ground, Mo Qixin pointed at his head. "Nephew, did you ever get that problem in your head checked?" Both his older brother and sister-in-law were not fools. How could they give birth to a son as arrogant and unconventional as Mo Baichuan? Mo Qixin was now even suspecting that his nephew was adopted. "Uncle, you don't believe me?" Mo Baichuan suddenly turned serious. "If you don't, let's make a bet. Then you will see what kind of person Yang really is." Mo Qixin's lips curled into a small smile. Mo Baichuan continued, "Let's bet on whose car Yang will ride in today." Mo Qixin laughed lightly. "Is there a need to bet on that?" Mo Baichuan frowned slightly. "Uncle, don't you think you're too self-confident?" "Nephew," Mo Qixin looked at Mo Baichuan, "I think you're ridiculous." Mo Baichuan didn't feel like arguing with Mo Qixin. "Whether you're too confident or I'm ridiculous, you'll see the answer soon." Mo Qixin was still deceiving himself. Under today's circumstances, anyone could tell with their toes that Yang definitely wouldn't ride Mo Qixin's bicycle. After all, today was an important day for the Mo family, and all the attendees were important figures. How could a vain woman like Yang ride a small bicycle? Mo Qixin was really dumb. In a moment, a clear voice rang out in the air, "Brother Mo." As Mo Qixin looked up, he saw Yang, dressed in a beige overcoat, walking out. Her jet-black, shiny hair was evenly spread out behind her, and there was a rosy hair clip on her right ear. The rosy hair clip against her fair and transparent ears was like a red plum in the snow, extremely eye-catching. The beige overcoat, buttoned up to the ankles, outlined her fine figure and slender waist. It looked as if a strong wind could break her thin waist. Yang. Mo Qixin jumped off his bicycle and walked towards Yang, talking and laughing as if he didn't notice Mo Baichuan by the jeep. As Yang completely ignored him, Mo Baichuan's face darkened. Was she still playing hard to get? "Miss Mo Baichuan walked straight up to Yang, looking down at her. "To repay you for saving my life in Dam Village, I personally came to invite you to my grandmother's birthday banquet today." Wasn't this what Yang wanted? She had followed him all the way from Dam Village to Beijing, just to draw his attention with the life-saving grace. He would grant her wish today. He didn't believe that Yang could still play coy when he had put it all out on the table. Chapter 235, Stunning. _7 Yang gave him a velvet smile and retorted, "Did I save someone in Dam Village? It's clear that the only thing I saved in Dam Village was a dog with a penchant for biting people. Dear sir, don't behave like a dog. I've already made my intentions very clear. Have some self-awareness, would you?" True, Yang had saved Mo Baichuan. But it felt just like saving a dog. If it was a dog, at least the dog would wag its tail at her. Unlike Mo Baichuan, who simply bit her back like a maniac, sticking to her like glue no matter how much she tried to shake him off. Mo Baichuan was suddenly filled with rage. He didn't expect Yang to keep playing coy even after all he had done. Was this amusing to her? Didn't she realize she was playing her part way too well? As Mo Qixin was just about to voice his thoughts, he heard Yang say, "Brother Mo, let's get going. We shouldn't waste our time on irrelevant people. If a dog bites you, would you bite it back?" These words quite unexpectedly chimed with Mo Qixin's own thinking. Nodding, he agreed, "Indeed, let's move." Mo Qixin maneuvered his bicycle, and Yang took up her usual place on the back seat. Yang, hold on tight, we're setting off. Okay. Yang smartly held onto Mo Qixin's waist with one hand and her belongings with the other. As the handsome lad and pretty girl rode under the morning sun, bathed in its warm golden light, it should have been a beautiful sight. But to Mo Baichuan, it was irritatingly dazzling. That was crossing the line. Yang was overreacting. He had even stooped to the level of personally driving to pick her up, but she still chose to ride off with Mo Qixin on his bicycle. Mo Baichuan initially came to declare war to Mo Qixin. He wanted to let Mo Qixin know that Yang was close to him only because of Mo Baichuan. Unexpectedly, he ended up getting slapped by Mo Qixin instead. Just wait, he swore that one day he would expose Yang's true face. Mo Baichuan clenched his fists tight, his suppressed rage making the veins in his neck pop. He looked truly vicious. At that moment he thought of another person. Xianxia. Since Yang failed to appreciate his kindness and insisted on playing coy, he could try winning over Xianxia. With a car, he could reach home long before the slow-paced bicycle. As long as he fetched Xianxia home before Mo Qixin, making Yang witness it all, she would undoubtedly lose her cool. Jealousy could make people bear their ugliest side. Squinting his eyes, Mo Baichuan got into his car. Soon after, his car could be spotted parked under the ladies' dormitory at the base. Being a formidable figure on the base, Mo Baichuan's car parked under the ladies' dormitory drew the attention of countless female onlookers. In their faces, Mo Baichuan found the recognition he sought. Could you please go and fetch Xianxia from room 106 for me? Tell her I'm waiting for her downstairs. Mo Baichuan grabbed a random girl's hand and made the request. Of course, of course. The girl's face turned a shade of shrimp red. When Xianxia found out that Mo Baichuan had come to fetch her himself, she felt as though she was dreaming. No. She never even dreamed that Mo Baichuan would come to fetch her one day. Now she turned into the envy of all. Xianxia quickly donned a beautiful and stylish strapless dress and put on her crystal shoes before walking out. Baichuan? Let's go. Mo Baichuan barely glanced at her before turning around to get back into the car. Excited, Xianxia got into the passenger seat. The air conditioning in the car was very strong, so Xianxia didn't feel cold. All the way, Xianxia was stealthily observing Mo Baichuan's expression. Since Mo Baichuan always maintained the same facial expression, Xianxia was unable to notice any abnormalities. The car was speeding up and soon caught up with the bicycle. Later, the speed of the car maintained an appropriate distance from the bicycle. About half an hour later, the car finally stopped in front of the Mo family's villa. Don't get out of the car yet, Mo Baichuan spoke out coldly. Xianxia was taken aback. Mo Baichuan noticed that the bicycle was about to enter the villa. He then opened the car door and walked over to open the door for Xianxia. Exhibiting gentlemanly manners, he extended a hand towards Xianxia. Xianxia, we've arrived. Mo Baichuan's attitude was different from what it had been earlier. This was the first time he had taken the initiative to hold her hand. Xianxia was overjoyed, her heart as if about to jump out of her chest. Cautiously, she extended her hand, placing it on top of Mo Baichuan's hand. Her cheeks turned slightly red. Mo Baichuan hid well the disgust in his eyes and led Xianxia out of the car. At the right moment, Mo Qixin also arrived with Yang. Without turning his head, Mo Baichuan led Xianxia into the hall. Yang also noticed Xianxia immediately. It seemed her guess was correct. Xianxia did show up at the Mo family's house. The trip was not in vain. Looking at the backless silhouette of Xianxia, Yang shivered uncontrollably. Is Xianxia not cold wearing such a dress during winter? Mo Qixin parked the bike and turned to look at Yang. Yang, my brothers and sisters-in-law are all here today. Don't be nervous, just stay by my side. Yang nodded. Okay. They entered the house. The hall was lively with people coming and going. The heating was very strong. Yang couldn't stand the heat after walking only a few steps. Fortunately, she was wearing a plain cheongsam under her coat, so it was fine to take off the coat. After all, a proper dress is required for such banquets. And a cheongsam is also a type of formal attire. Yang was unbuttoning her coat as they walked. She took off her coat and casually draped it over her arm. Mo Qixin extended his hand to take her coat. Yang, we have a lot of family members today, let me keep your coat for you. All right, Yang nodded. Thank you, brother Mo. Mo Qixin smiled faintly. You're welcome. While Xianxia and Mo Baichuan were walking in front, Mo Hudi saw Xianxia and contrary to her usual self, was overly warm. Her little face was smiling so brightly it almost bloomed. She opened her arms and ran over quickly, "Sister Xianxia." At this time the other guests in the room also looked in this direction, their eyes filled with admiration. Feeling everyone's gaze, Xianxia straightened her back. She had been preparing for quite a while for this day in order to stand out. This attire alone took 2 months to prepare. With a gentle and decent smile on her face, Xianxia half squatted down, opened her arms and welcomed Mo Hudi, Xiaodai. However, Mo Hudi ran straight past Xianxia and jumped into the arms of the person behind Xianxia, "Sister Nai Yang." It was only then that Xianxia heard clearly what Mo Hudi said. She was calling for Sister Nai Yang, not Sister Xianxia. What happened? Moreover, it seemed that the gazes of the others were not focused on her, but were oriented towards someone behind her. Who is behind me? Chapter 236. The truth about plotting against Mo Hudi, tormenting Xianxia. Why were all eyes on her? A chill of foreboding tinged Xianxia's mind. Her complexion paled as she slowly turned her head to look behind her. There was a figure clad in a light-colored cheongsam, stepping languidly. Her glossy raven hair half swept up, and her clear expressive peach blossom eyes were framed with long thick lashes casting a shadow on her eyelids. Secured on her ear was a hair clip in the shape of a red plum blossom, contrasting with her fair ear tip. It was like a red plum blooming brilliantly amidst a blanket of white snow, utterly mesmerizing. The red hair clip perfectly complemented the button of her cheongsam, projecting the elegant radiance of a figure stepped out from a painting, with no room for criticism. The cheongsam was usually a demanding piece of attire. If not worn gracefully, it could look overly rigid and dreary. However, the person before them was donning the cheongsam in a way that exemplified its timeless elegance. Usually the cheongsam enhances the wearer, but in her case she was the one enhancing the cheongsam. Who was she? Why did she seem so familiar? Xianxia squinted her eyes, momentarily unable to recall the identity of the figure. But the sense of impending danger was steadily growing stronger within her. "Sister Nai Yang, I've been waiting for you for so long." Mo Hudi embraced Nai Yang, unwilling to let go. "Sister Nai Yang." Upon hearing this long-lost address, Xianxia started to regain her composure. It was her. She had come back. She indeed had returned. Insolent woman. Hadn't she already married that castrated old man? Why had she returned? Xianxia's hand clenched tight, the sharpened nails digging into her flesh due to excessive force. No. She couldn't be defeated by this shameless woman, she must remain calm. She had to win over everyone. No one will take Mo Baichuan from her. Luckily everyone's attention was focused on Nai Yang, so no one paid attention to her. Xianxia stood up gracefully, maintaining a polished smile on her face. Yang is here. The old lady of the Mo family and Mo Fuhai warmly welcomed her. They introduced Nai Yang to the rest of the family. "My first 4 sons, let me introduce you to Nai Yang, the divine doctor who healed Xiaodai. Yang is the lucky star of our Mo family. Not only did she heal Xiaodai but she also saved Ping Ping. I rely exclusively on the breakfast she prepares whenever my appetite dwindles." Not everyone could bear being addressed as the lucky star by the matriarch of the Mo family. Upon hearing her words, everyone's gaze shifted towards Nai Yang. Xianxia's mind was thrown into chaos. She had considered many possibilities, but she had never anticipated that Nai Yang would be the lucky star revered by the old matriarch. Why was it Nai Yang? What had transpired during the period when she was unconscious? "Miss Nai, Mo Rongping, the eldest son of the Mo family. I am Mo Rongan, the second son. Mo Rongzhong, the 4th son. I am Mo Ronghua, the 5th son." The matriarch of the Mo family got married when she was 18 years old. The eldest son Mo Rongping was 56 years old, and even the youngest, the 5th son, was 49. Only their youngest brother Mo Qishan was quite young. He was only a year older than his eldest grandson, Mo Baichuan, and was now 27. In fact, it was also apparent from the names themselves that Mo Qishan was an unexpected child. While the names of the first 4 sons represented peace, prosperity and patriotism, his name signified uniqueness and profoundness. Before these people, Nai Yang was merely a 17-year-old child. Yet she exuded a composed, polite demeanor. The old lady pointed to her sons and said, Yang, just call them eldest brother, second brother, fourth brother and fifth brother." Eldest brother, second brother, fourth brother, fifth brother? What was the matriarch trying to imply? Xianxia almost bit through her lip. She'd been meticulously planning for 2 whole years before she earned the trust of the matriarch and patriarch of the Mo family. Had Yang only known them for a few days? How could they trust Yang so easily? This was unfair. This was unfair to her. Why was this insolent woman always after what she desired? It was the same in her previous life. And it was the same in this life. Li Xianxian's lowered eyes were filled with venomous indignation. Mo Baichuan also found the matriarch's behavior rather befuddling. If Yang was to address his uncles as brothers, wouldn't she become his senior? How could that make sense? Yang was initially worried about how to address them. After all, she addressed Mo Qixin as Brother Mo. It would be strange for her to call his elder brothers as uncles. On the other hand, addressing them as brothers would accentuate their age difference. Chapter 237. The Truth About Plotting Against Mo Hudi, Torturing Li Xianxian _2. Now that the old lady Mo has said so, Yang didn't put on airs and directly greeted, "Hello, elder brother, second brother, fourth brother, fifth brother." Yang's good looks, her sensible behavior and her kindness towards the Mo family, made all of the Mo family's sons quite willing to accept her as their sister. Old lady Mo then pulled Yang to Li Xianxian's side and introduced, "Xianxian, this is the lucky charm I've told you about before. Yang, this is Li Xianxian. She is 3 years older than you and usually stays with Chuan, serving as his capable assistant." Yang gave a small smile, reaching out to shake Li Xianxian's hand. "Hello, Sister Xianxian." Her smile was light and pure, as if a neighboring sister with affable charm, inevitably causing one to drop all guards and defenses. However, Li Xianxian couldn't relax at all. "Sister Xianxian?" Yang was actually calling her Sister Xianxian? What was she trying to do? In her past life, Yang was indifferent to her, even going as far as ignoring gifts and attempts to curry favor with her. In this life, would she really be so well-intentioned? But then again, Yang in this life is only 17 years old. 17 years old, still a green young girl. What could such a young girl understand? Even if Yang accidentally climbed the ranks of the Mo family, she had ways to bring her down from her pedestal. Could a young girl outsmart her? Holding on to this thought, Li Xianxian was greatly relieved and shook Yang's hand. "Hello, Yang. Grandma often mentions you. Now that I've met you in person, you truly live up to your reputation." Yang accepted Li Xianxian's praise without a word. "Thank you, Sister Xianxian." Li Xianxian's eyes narrowed. She felt something off about the Yang before her eyes. At this time, Yang should have just fled from the countryside, still maintaining her unsophisticated naivete, overwhelmed when faced with her sophisticated grace, and feeling extreme shame and inferiority. But what about Yang? Yang didn't show the slightest bit of inferiority, but was radiant and generous. "Sister Yang, would you like me to show you my room?" Mo Hudi approached, taking Yang's hand. "Sure." Yang patted Mo Hudi's head and followed her up the stairs. Watching their figures disappear, a glint of ominous light flashed in Li Xianxian's eyes. This Mo Hudi truly ungrateful. She treated her so well, always bringing toys for her whenever she visited the Mo family, always trying to make her happy. But Mo Hudi? She wasn't the least bit grateful, even embarrassing her in public. Inviting Yang to tour her room without inviting her. An absolute ingrate. She deserved to lose her parents, becoming an orphan. Yang went upstairs with Mo Hudi, meeting Mo Qixin on their way, who was coming down the spiral staircase. "Yang, where are you two going?" Mo Qixin had his hands in his pockets, smiling at the duo. "Hudi wants to show me her room." Yang replied. "Uncle, would you like to come with us?" Mo Hudi caught hold of Mo Qixin's hand with her other one. "Sure." Mo Qixin nodded. The trio then headed for Mo Hudi's room. Witnessing the scene atop the spiral staircase, Li Xianxian's face was full of scorn. She was initially worried about whether Yang had also returned from the past like her. It seems that she was overthinking it. If Yang had also returned from the past, she would not have walked away with a waist like Mo Qixin. Mo Hudi's room was over 50 square meters, and was exquisitely decorated with imported stuffed toys from overseas scattered all over. Next to the window there was a desk with an open notebook on it. The notebook was filled with scribbles, beside which lay an extravagant Picasso pen. "Sister Yang, these are my writings." Mo Hudi gave the notebook on the desk to Yang. Had Li Xianxian been there, she would have died of anger on the spot. A few days ago, she too had wanted to look at the contents of this notebook, but was denied by Mo Hudi. Moreover, Mo Hudi had told her that it was a diary and hence, not to be seen by outsiders. When Yang opened the first page of the notebook, she was shocked. It wasn't just the beautiful handwriting that shocked her, but mainly the name written in the column. Chapter 238, The Truth About Planning to Harm Mo Hudi, Tormenting Xianxia _3. The butterfly flies. If her memory serves her correctly, in the future, there is a very famous contemporary author named the Butterfly Flies. Her writing is highly revered by many, becoming a marvel in the modern literary world. Yang had also read her works. Is Mo Hudi that same Butterfly Flies? Mo Hudi introduced herself. Sister Yang, Butterfly Flies is my pseudonym. What do you think of the name? Does flies means liberating flight? Yang asked. That's correct. Mo Hudi nodded, smiling brightly. Sister Yang, you're really sharp. It does indeed mean the leisurely flight. The previously bedridden Mo Hudi longed to live like a normal child, which had influenced her choice of pseudonym. She hoped she could become a true butterfly one day. Yang flipped a few more pages in the notebook, her face getting more shocked as she read on. Clearly, Mo Hudi and the future butterfly flies were one and the same, because this notebook was full of famous quotes from the butterfly flies. Mo Hudi was currently 12 years old, and based on time calculation, she should rise to fame about 15 years from now, when she would be in her 20s. But Yang had read Butterfly Fly's autobiography. If she remembered correctly, Butterfly Flies rose to fame around her 30s. Something was off. It did not match up with Mo Hudi's current age. Xiaodai, have you ever thought about publishing your own book? Yang turned to look at Mo Hudi. Publish a book? Mo Hudi blinked. No. She was just bored and wrote these things to pass the time. She had never even contemplated publishing them. Yang went on. Xiaodai, your literary talent far surpasses the average person. Actually, you could consider pursuing a career in publishing. Who would believe these life-inspiring sentences were penned by a mere 12-year-old girl? Seeing Yang's reaction, Mo Qixin took the notebook from Yang. But Mo Hudi pressed his hand. Uncle, this is a secret between Sister Yang and me. You're a boy, you're not allowed to see. Mo Qixin chuckled and pinched her face. You let Sister Yang read this but not me? Xiaodai, isn't that showing favoritism? This will make me sad. Mo Hudi hesitated, then finally relented. Fine, I'll let you have a look. Mo Qixin took the notebook and quickly skimmed through a few pages, his expression gradually turning serious. For such a long time, he had no idea his niece possessed such talent. Just then a young friend came to play with Mo Hudi. Yang saw the opportunity and pulled Mo Qixin outside. Brother Mo, I have a question to ask you. Mo Qixin followed Yang outside, smiling. Speak. I will try my best to answer. Brother Mo, Yang looked up at Mo Qixin. Can I ask, why did Xianxia commit suicide last time? Yang's intuition told her that the reason Xianxia committed suicide was absolutely intertwined with Mo Hudi. Mo Qixin had no inclination to conceal anything from Yang. So, he went on to explain everything about the Jiangnan divine doctor and Mo Hudi's parents to Yang. Hearing this, Yang slightly furrowed her eyebrows. This incident might look like a premeditated revenge act by the Jiangnan divine doctor, but in reality, it's not that simple. The incident was years ago, and the Mo family had relocated to Beijing. So, how did the Jiangnan divine doctor find out Mo Hudi was a descendant of the Mo family? How did Xianxia get to know the Jiangnan divine doctor? Perhaps, nobody else knew about the grudge between Jiangnan divine doctor and the Mo family, but Xianxia was different. She had reincarnated and come back to life. She knew about things others wouldn't. Therefore, the person who intended to murder Mo Hudi was not anyone else, but it was Xianxia. Xianxia was very shrewd. This ploy of using another's hand to strike was extremely ingenious. Given the long-standing enmity between the Jiangnan divine doctor and the Mo family, his motive for killing Mo Hudi was clear. Who would suspect Xianxia? Xianxia didn't only manage to perfectly wash her hands clean of all crimes, but also committed suicide to earn the full sympathy of the Mo family. This was truly a triple victory. However, what Xianxia did not foresee was that Mo Hudi didn't die in the end. Since Mo Hudi did not die, all of Xianxia's plans must be sped up. Considering this, a glint of light flashed in Yang's eyes. Yang, have you noticed something? Mo Qixin detected something odd about Yang. Chapter 239, The Truth About Plotting Against Mo Hudi, Tormenting Xianxia _4. Yang slightly raised her eyes. No big deal. By the way, Brother Mo, I think Xiaodai really has the potential. You can hire a tutor to guide her. I believe she will achieve great things in the future. Mo Qishan nodded approvingly. I also think Xiao Dai is pretty smart. And Yang continued, Brother Mo, I have a suggestion for you. Go ahead, Yang. And Yang said quietly, Here's what I recommend, let's keep this a secret for now. Once Xiao Dai's book is finally published, we can surprise everyone. Sure, they'll follow your advice. Mo Qishan had no objections about this matter. He firmly believed that everything Yang said was right. The two of them chatted while walking downstairs. The Mo family was a prominent family in Beijing, so there were many people who came to wish Grandma Mo a happy birthday today. In no time the ground floor lobby was crowded with people. As the host, Mo Qishan was immediately approached by a servant as soon as he got downstairs, who wanted to discuss the details of the birthday banquet with him. Yang smiled, Go on, Brother Mo, I can manage on my own. Mo Qishan hesitated for a moment, then said, I shall return shortly. Okay. Yang nodded. Yang was a beauty who had drawn the attention of countless admirers. However, she exuded innate nobility, and given this was the Mo family's turf, not many people dared to offend her. Yang sat on the sofa, eating delicate pastries and listening to the conversation among the rich wives and daughters of the wealthy families. Who was wearing a stunning diamond ring? Who was dressed in this year's trendiest fashion? When it came to trendy dresses, the rich wives and daughters all turned their eyes towards Xianxia in the middle of the hall. To be precise, they were focused on the dress Xianxia was wearing. Xianxia was wearing a stunning one-shoulder dress today. Designed in a gradient of blue and white colors, a layer of transparent organza was additionally adorning the dress, making the patterns on the skirt somewhat visible yet somewhat hidden. With every step she took, the organza ebbed and flowed, as if she was strolling in the clouds. It was elegantly enchanting, capturing all the attention. It far surpassed any traditional evening gown within the country. On top of that, Xianxia's makeup was entirely appropriate. It was neither thick nor theatrical, just right. Along with the beautiful dress, it was definitely the most dazzling existence. Mo Rongping and Xiu Jiao were watching Xianxia from a distance, their faces displaying their satisfaction. This kid isn't bad, she can definitely hold her own in such an environment. She made a matchless pair with Baichuan. A daughter of a prosperous family approached Xianxia, looking at her with envy. Xianxia, this dress of yours is stunning. Where did you get it? Xianxia answered gently, Thank you, Miss Zhao. I made this dress myself. She made it herself? Upon hearing this, the other rich wives and heiresses were taken aback. This Xianxia is too incredible. She was able to make such a beautiful dress. Sister Xianxia, you're so incredibly talented. Could you teach me when you have some spare time? A young girl wearing a qipao joined them, pulling Xianxia's arm with a brilliant smile, her beautiful eyes shining, and a dimple appearing charmingly on her cheek. Xianxia, who everyone previously thought was dazzling, was totally lost in the background the moment this girl appeared. This was like a bright star suddenly losing its shine. And the young lady in the qipao next to Xianxia was like an irresistibly brilliant moon. Without comparison, everyone thought traditional Chinese gowns were a bit old-fashioned. But now, Western-style gowns seemed bland compared to the qipao, which proudly showcased an unparalleled national beauty. In front of the grandiose qipao, even the slightest shadow of a Western gown was instantly lost. This is what we call heritage. How could Western culture ever compare to the heritage passed down through 5,000 years of Chinese civilization? Watching the spotlight being completely taken over by Yang, Xianxia was grinding her teeth in anger. But she still managed to keep her polite smile. Yang, do I look like a stingy person to you? Of course I would teach you if you really want to learn. Yang smiled lightly, her gaze turning towards the hem of Xianxia's dress, then said, Sister Xianxia, are these flowers on the hem of your dress also hand-embroidered by you? Chapter 240 The Truth About Plotting Against Mo Hudi, Tormenting Xianxia 5. Xianxia would naturally not miss this opportunity to show off. In today's society, old customs are gradually being forgotten, and there aren't many people who can embroider. Yes, this skirt, from design to production, is all done by me. The flowers are not well embroidered, I'm afraid it might look funny to you. Murmurs of astonishment followed by hearing her words. They all praised Xianxia for being so talented. Shaw. This Xianxia really dares to say anything. Yang subtly raised an eyebrow. The skirt worn by Xianxia was one that Yang had seen at a Paris fashion show in her past life, a creation by the famous designer LP named Blue Dream. Taking advantage of her rebirth, Li Xianxian had claimed someone else's work as her own. This kind of theft was really disgusting. Yang kept her composure and had started by praising Li Xianxian enthusiastically. With the addition of everyone else's compliments and fawning, Li Xianxian was on cloud 9. The next second Yang shifted her tone, adding, "I've heard that the song and bien embroidery styles are very similar, but there are also many differences which non-professionals would not be able to identify. May I ask, Sister Xianxian, is the embroidery on this skirt done in the bien or song style?" "Song embroidery? Bien embroidery?" Li Xianxian is not a seamstress. How could she know this? The skirt was indeed her design, but the one who made it was not her. Damn it, now she had landed herself in a hot soup. However, Li Xianxian quickly regained her composure. After all, everyone present were high society ladies who were not familiar with the intricacies of embroidery. Thinking of this, Li Xianxian was significantly relieved. She laughed and said, "It's done in the song style." Yang looked at Li Xianxian with an expression of adoration, excitedly saying, "Sister Xianxian, I admire you so much, you even know how to do the complex song embroidery." Li Xianxian patted Yang's hand and humbly said, "With deep practice even an iron rod could be ground into a needle, it's nothing special." Virtuous, talented and modest. Everyone looked at Li Xianxian with admiration. Nonsense. If you don't understand embroidery, don't pretend to be skilled and mislead others. That is clearly Suzhou embroidery. Suddenly, an aged voice with a stern tone rang through the room. Everyone looked towards the speaker and found it to be old lady Zheng. The always amiable old lady Zheng now looked as stern as a changed person, glaring at Li Xianxian. Old lady Zheng, raising her walking stick, slowly walked towards Li Xianxian, pointedly saying, "Young people should remain grounded." Old lady Zheng is native to Su City. Her family had been silk dealers for generations, once specifically providing embroidery for the imperial court. Her family still preserved a plaque written by Emperor Qianlong himself, thus her words carried extraordinary weight. If this skirt was really made by Li Xianxian herself, would she not even know the type of embroidery used? Old lady Zheng deeply valued embroidery and detested young people who, under the guise of understanding embroidery, misled others with pretentious bragging. Today Li Xianxian truly touched a raw nerve. Upon hearing this, Li Xianxian turned pale. The other's gaze also changed. From initial shock and admiration, it turned to ridicule and disdain. These looks were like knives, revealing the most rotten part of Li Xianxian's inner self. Li Xianxian's back was now covered with layers of cold sweat. At this point she wished she could just burrow into the ground. The torment of being skinned alive through people's gaze was really unbearable. It was all Yang's fault. This damnable girl set a trap and she fell right in. After 1,000 calculations, Li Xianxian never expected old lady Zheng to be in the crowd. This meddlesome old hag. When Mo Rongping and his wife saw the scene, their satisfied expressions vanished in an instant. His wife Xiao Jiao shook her head saying, "This girl is not good, she is too pretentious. She is not suitable for our Chuan. Mo Rongping nodded, "I also think that our mother was mistaken this time. Where was this girl worthy of being the daughter-in-law of the Mo family?" After lecturing Li Xianxian, old lady Zheng noticed Yang. Her expression immediately softened again. Holding Yang's hands she said, "Good child, you're here too." Every time she saw this child, old lady Zheng felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity. "Old lady Zheng." Yang courteously responded. Chapter 241 The Truth About Plotting Against Mo Hudi, Tormenting Li Xianxian 6. Madame Zheng smiled and replied, "My dear child, don't call me old lady. Just call me grandma. Our Xianjing is about the same age as you." Yang, ever the sweet talker, immediately addressed her as grandma. Seeing Madame Zheng's response, Li Xianxian became even more frustrated. Why did everyone seem to favor Yang? Was she predestined to be a stepping stone for Yang? Yang deserved to die. Madame Zheng deserved to die. The whole lot of them deserved to die. Xianxian. Just then a hand gripped Li Xianxian's wrist. Li Xianxian looked up and saw Baichuan shining brilliantly. "Baichuan," she sighed as she tightened her grip on his hand. She still had Baichuan. As long as she held a place in Baichuan's heart, she hadn't lost. "Come with me. I'm going to introduce you to my parents," Baichuan said, leading Li Xianxian away. Baichuan did this on purpose. He deliberately walked away with Li Xianxian in front of Yang, hoping to provoke Yang's jealousy. In Baichuan's view, the only reason Yang had embarrassed Li Xianxian in public was because of him. Why else would Yang have provoked Li Xianxian for no reason? What Baichuan didn't expect, however, was that Yang would not cast him even a single glance. Is she still playing? Baichuan's eyes dimmed, and without realizing it, his grip tightened. Li Xianxian gasped involuntarily, hurt by his strong grasp. Was Baichuan gripping her wrist so tightly because he was afraid of losing her? Yes, it must be so. With this comforting thought in mind, Li Xianxian glanced coyly at Baichuan, her eyes full of playfulness. Knowing that she was about to meet her future parents-in-law, Li Xianxian's heart raced with excitement. Mom, Dad, this is Xianxian. Baichuan introduced Li Xianxian to Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao. But Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao's attitude wasn't as enthusiastic as Li Xianxian had expected. They merely nodded politely, then quickly excused themselves. They didn't even initiate a conversation with Li Xianxian. What was going on? Li Xianxian, who had managed to stay calm, instantly paled. She couldn't shake the feeling that Baichuan's parents didn't seem to like her. But she was the chosen future daughter-in-law of the Mo family. Baichuan's gaze unwittingly swept over Yang. Seeing Yang walking over in high spirits, chatting and laughing with Madame Zheng, he lowered his head to Li Xianxian and said, "You shouldn't care too much about my parents' attitudes. They're just like that." Comforted by Baichuan's words, Li Xianxian felt at ease. She gave a soft nod and said, "I understand." The sight of Baichuan walking hand in hand with Li Xianxian aroused envy in many of prominent families' daughters. Baichuan, the most eligible bachelor in the Mo family. Baichuan was near perfect, his only flaw being his taste in women. How could he fancy someone like Li Xianxian who was so vain and pretentious? Despite parading Li Xianxian all over the hall, Baichuan failed to attract a single glance from Yang. As 10 minutes ticked by, he felt increasingly frustrated. He loosened his tie, let go of Li Xianxian's hand, and made his way to the upstairs study, citing some work-related reason. Li Xianxian, always understanding, followed suit. "Baichuan, let me accompany you. Perhaps I can be of some help." Without turning back, Baichuan said, "No need. I can handle it myself." Disappointed, Li Xianxian halted, standing there, gazing at Baichuan's receding figure in a daze. Zheng Xianjing, naturally in attendance at such an important banquet, wasn't by Madame Zheng's side. She was off looking for Mo Qishan. She would never pass up an opportunity for some time alone with Mo Qishan. Her perseverance paid off, eventually leading her to Mo Qishan at the back of the Mo residence. "Uncle Mo," Zheng Xianjing greeted, rushing towards him with a smile. Mo Qishan subtly stepped back to maintain some distance from Zheng Xianjing. Do you need something?" "Uncle Mo, what are you so busy with? Is there anything I can help you with?" Zheng Xianjing continued asking. "No need." Mo Qishan abruptly began walking back to the main hall. "Uncle Mo," Zheng Xianjing hurried forward to keep pace with him. "Don't walk so fast, I can hardly keep up with you." Mo Qishan turned back irritably and retorted, "Why are you being such a pesky fly? Can't you back off a bit?" If Yang noticed this, he'd be in mortal trouble. Even the Yellow River would not be enough to cleanse him. With a pitiful face, Zheng Xianjing sighed, her eyes beginning to well up. "Uncle Mo, what don't you like about me? I can change." Chapter 242, The Truth About Plotting Against Mo Hudi, Torturing Li Xianxian. Under 7. Mo Qishan gave her an up-and-down look. "I'm just a worthless reject who's had his engagement broken off, Miss Zheng. You'd better not waste your time on me." "No. You're not worthless," Zheng Xianjing declared firmly. "Even if the whole world looks down on you, I want. Uncle Mo, in my heart, you're just like a hero." Only someone as blind as Zhao Jingrong would consider Mo Qishan worthless. Just wait. Soon there will be a day of regret for Zhao Jingrong. At that point she will be envied by everyone. With this in mind, a light quickly flashed in Zheng Xianjing's eyes. "Hero?" Mo Qishan sneered with a curl of his lip. "May I ask what heroic deed I've accomplished to move you? To make you so sure that I'm not worthless?" Mo Qishan, to the outside world, is a complete loss. No education. No respectable job. Every day he just idles about, waiting for death. He is avoided by the spoilt rich girls in their circle. Zheng Xianjing knows nothing about Mo Qishan, yet firmly believes that he isn't worthless. These words are just too hypocritical. Zheng Xianjing is so set on him, she must have seen something that she's not supposed to see. In Mo Qishan's heart, Zheng Xianjing and Zhao Jingrong, who climbs and steps on people, are no different, both carrying a mask of vanity that is just nauseating. Mo Qishan narrowed his eyes inconspicuously. Zheng Xianjing continued, "Uncle Mo, I know you're not worthless. One day you will rise to great heights. Stay away from me, Imo-chishin said coldly with a disgusted look in his eyes. You're just making me feel nauseous. Upon finishing his statement, Imo-chishin turned and walked away abruptly. Xianxia was left stunned. The development of events seemed a bit off. She believed in Imo-chishin so much, he should be very touched. At this time, apart from her, there was no one else who would believe in Imo-chishin. No way. She can't admit defeat so easily. She must hold on to Imo-chishin tightly and get him to stay by her side. Xianxia turned and followed Imo-chishin out the door. As soon as she reached the lobby, she saw a very disturbing scene. There she saw Yang, the little wench, affectionately addressing Madame Zheng as grandma. Madame Zheng was beside herself with joy. Xianxia knew Madame Zheng all too well. She knew Madame Zheng's smile was genuinely happy. This damn old lady. Does she even know who her real granddaughter is? Yang, that little wench, was absolutely shameless too, daring to call Madame Zheng grandma. Who did she think she was? Xianxia swallowed her anger and walked over to Madame Zheng with a smile. Grandma, young divine doctor. Xianjing is here. Madame Zheng warmly took Xianjing's hand. Just look, I just acknowledged a younger sister for you. Don't call me divine doctor anymore, it's too formal, just call her sister, it's much better. Madame Zheng genuinely liked Yang, otherwise she wouldn't have said so. Damn old woman. Xianjing cursed Madame Zheng in her heart 1,000 times over, but her voice was still soft when she said, "Hello, sister." One should never hit a smiling face. Although Yang knew Xianjing didn't like her, she still greeted her with a smile. Sister Xianjing. Xianjing didn't want Madame Zheng and Yang to be alone together. Her intuition told her that if these two were left alone for a long time, something bad was bound to happen. Grandma, it's too stuffy in here. Let me take you out for a walk. Yang, you come too. Madame Zheng pulled Yang along. Since Xianjing didn't like Yang wasn't going to make herself uncomfortable either. She wasn't a masochist. Grandma, you go with Sister Xianjing. I'm going to find Brother Imo. Brother Imo? Xianjing narrowed her eyes subtly. Was Yang's brother Imo referring to Imo-chishin or Imo Baichuan? It should be Imo Baichuan, right? A social climber like Yang would surely not see Imo-chishin as worth her time. Thinking about this settled Xianjing's heart somewhat, and she took Madame Zheng out the door. Yang elegantly walked towards the right side of the lobby. Here Yang had to admit to Li Xianxian's superior socializing skills. Li Xianxian, who was initially disliked by everyone, was now surrounded like a star among a crowd of rich young ladies. Miss Li, you really have a way to buy the limited edition Ice Skin Jade Whitening Moisturizer? Li Xianxian nodded, her tone gentle. Yes, really. Why would I deceive everyone? Miss Li, could you help me get one? I haven't been able to buy a second one since I bought the first. I want one too. Me too. Li Xianxian raised her hand. Don't worry, one at a time. I have some connections with the boss of Ice Skin Jade One believe he will do me a favor. The brand Ice Skin Jade had already gained popularity in the upper social circles, especially the whitening moisturizer, which was highly sought after by this group of people. Because the effects were just too good, and almost as soon as it was produced, it was bought out immediately. Honestly, owning a bottle of whitening moisturizer was a sign of status in this circle. Yang's moisturizer for the next month had already been ordered by a mysterious buyer. Looking at Li Xianxian's confident look now, this mysterious buyer was probably her. Seeing Xianxian's confident look, Yang lightly curled her lips. An opportunity to make money was in sight. Chapter 243 Xianjing, who was almost angry to death, made a fortune. _1 She not only wants to make money, but she also wants to earn a hefty sum. Yang looked at Li Xianxian standing amidst the crowd and suddenly had an idea. She beckoned Imo Hudi, who was playing hide-and-seek with her friends not far away. Shout, I come here. Imo Hudi immediately ran over. Sister Yang? Yang squatted down and whispered something into Imo Hudi's ear. After hearing Yang's words clearly, Imo Hudi nodded her head and thumped her chest. Okay, Sister Yang, I promise to complete the mission. Yang patted the top of Imo Hudi's little head. Imo Hudi ran back to the original spot and continued playing hide-and-seek with her friends. Li Xianxian was talking with a group of the rich ladies about skincare products when she suddenly heard someone shouting, Sun Dalian. Sun Dalian. If a person has been called a particular name for a long time, they would unconsciously respond to that name out of habit. An excellent example of this was Li Xianxian. Upon hearing these 3 words, her first reaction was to turn around and respond, What? At her words, all the rich ladies around her froze. If they did not mishear, the name that was just shouted seemed to be Sun Dalian. What was the relationship between Sun Dalian and Li Xianxian? At this moment, before Li Xianxian could realize anything was wrong, Mo Hudi walked towards her step by step, speaking puzzledly, "Sister Xianxian, I was calling Sun Dalian. Could it be your name is Sun Dalian too?" At her words, the color drained from Li Xianxian's face. Unpleasant memories from her past instantly flooded her mind. No, she was not Sun Dalian. She was Li Xianxian. How did Mo Hudi know about the name Sun Dalian? What on earth was going on? No, she must not let anyone know about her past. Li Xianxian forced herself to calm down and laughed. Perhaps Sister Xianxian misheard. Mo Hudi nodded with an appearance of understanding yet not quite understanding. "I thought that Sun Dalian was Sister Xianxian's nickname." "No, it's not." Li Xianxian's expression looked slightly rigid. At this moment, a child ran over. Shout I, were you calling for me just now?" Mo Hudi no longer paid attention to Li Xianxian as she left with the child. "Yes, let's go continue playing." Watching Mo Hudi's departing figure, Li Xianxian felt cold sweat pouring down her back. Fortunately, it was just a misunderstanding. Yang stood aside with a faint smile in her eyes. She guessed right. Li Xianxian was indeed Sun Dalian, and Sun Dalian was indeed Li Xianxian. The reason why Li Xianxian was desperately trying to hide her past was because there must be something from her past that she didn't want anybody to see. Things were starting to get interesting. The smile in Yang's eyes grew stronger and a slight dimple appeared at the corner of her mouth. It was as if that slight dimple could swallow people up. A tall figure stood by the carved balustrade on the third floor above. He leaned over the balustrade, his gaze lost in the crowd below. To be exact, his gaze was fixed on Yang. Yang. What sort of person was she? Mo Baichuan, who had always looked down on women, was for the first time unable to read a woman. She was obviously trying to get close to him to attract his attention, but whenever he tried to approach her, she kept him at a distance. What was she trying to do? If she truly wasn't interested in him, why was she going to such lengths to trouble Li Xianxian? Claiming not to be interested while she was deliberately making life difficult for Li Xianxian, it was so hypocritical. Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes. The atmosphere downstairs was getting more bustling, and the number of guests was steadily increasing. From the corner of her eye, Li Xianxian saw a regal, well-shaped figure walking in from outside. A glint flashed in her eyes as she quickly approached him. "Mr. Song." That's right, it was Song Beiqing. As the only grandson of the Mo family and the heir to the immense Song family business, Li Xianxian needs Song Beiqing's support to secure her position in the Mo family. To survive in the Mo family, she must find a reliable backing. She needs to make Song Beiqing notice her, and even better to make Song Beiqing fall head over heels for her. Song Beiqing is known to be a ladies' man. Catching his attention should be a piece of cake. Isn't that how it's often described in novels? A man who falls for the heroine would sacrifice anything to make her happy. Li Xianxian was confident that she could make Song Beiqing her devoted admirer, willing to give up everything for her. Chapter 244. Zheng Xianjing, almost outraged, made a fortune. _2. Song Beiqing nodded politely at Li Xianxian. "Miss Li?" Li Xianxian chuckled and said, "Mr. Song, there's no need to be so formal, we're already so familiar, you can just call me by my first name." Before Li Xianxian could finish her sentence, something seemed to catch Song Beiqing's eye. He quickly walked towards that direction, excitedly exclaiming, "Yang!" Song Beiqing. Yang gave a faint smile in response to Song Beiqing. Yang. Her again. The unabashed Jezebel. Seeing this, Li Xianxian nearly gnashed her silver teeth in exasperation. She and Song Beiqing still addressed each other as Mr. and Mississippi after all this time. How many days has Yang known Song Beiqing? What gave her the right to call him by his full name? All the status and connections Li Xianxian had painstakingly built up within the Mo family over nearly 2 years had been effortlessly snatched away by Yang. Li Xianxian was so angry she could have suffocated herself. Observing from the third floor, even Mo Baichuan was surprised to see Yang and Song Beiqing so chummy. It was unexpected that Song Beiqing, an infamous playboy, would fall for Yang's tricks too. How he had underestimated Yang. Aside from the 2 outrageously expensive invitations, Yang actually had quite a good impression of Song Beiqing. Song Beiqing was a thoughtful man with a witty way of speaking. His dialogues expressed no condescension towards women. As the 2 were engrossed in their conversation, a deep voice suddenly interrupted them. Yang. Turning her head, Yang saw that the man was Mo Qishan. "Brother Mo." "Uncle." Song Beiqing also greeted him respectfully. Although Mo Qixin was known as good-for-nothing in the circle, Song Beiqing was quite respectful to his uncle. They generally got along well. Mo Qixin chuckled, "Beiqing, I just saw the misses of the Wang and Zhao families looking for you over there." Upon hearing this, Song Beiqing visibly flinched, quickly covering his face with his hands. He whispered in a low voice, "Uncle, keep an eye out for me. I'll go and hide at my grandmother's place. If they come looking here, tell them I didn't come." Mo Qixin nodded, acting like a concerned elder. "Don't worry, just go. Be more careful in the future." Fearing those women would find him, Song Beiqing hastily departed. Mo Qixin turned to Anai Yang, continuing, "My nephew is a good man, handsome and virtuous. But he has one flaw, he loves to flirt. Yang, be careful if you continue to associate with him. This kid is quite a womanizer." Even though Mo Qixin was only 2 years older than Song Beiqing, he acted like a sagely elder when dispensing this advice. Like a monarch pointing at the map of his empire. Poor Song Beiqing had no idea his beloved uncle was going behind his back. Nayang nodded, I understand, brother Mo." "Yang," Mo Qixin continued, "I've finished most of my work, let's take a stroll." "Okay." Anai Yang turned and followed Mo Qixin's footsteps. Watching the retreating figures of Anai Yang and Mo Qixin, most of Li Xianxian's anger dissipated instantly. Seems she needed to instigate a relationship between these two. A lowly creature like Anai Yang deserved a waste like Mo Qixin. Li Xianxian slowly let a smile curl upon her lips. Mo Qixin led Anai Yang to the garden in the back of the Mo family villa. Even though it was winter, the greenhouse was in full bloom, perfuming the air with the fragrance of spring. When they returned to the front hall, the birthday celebration had officially begun. The matriarch of the Mo family sat in the master's seat, graciously receiving the blessings of her descendants. The Mo family was a traditional household that observed the custom of formal bows, meaning the younger generations had to prostrate themselves before the birthday honoree. The matriarch had 5 sons and 2 daughters, minus one daughter who had passed away. She had more than 20 descendants. The sight of them all kneeling together was quite a spectacle. At that moment, 2 blonde, blue-eyed foreigners from F country entered. Seeing the 2 foreigners, Zheng Xianjing became excited and anxious, knowing that they had certainly come looking for Mo Qixin. Simultaneously, she worried about Mo Qixin's identity being revealed, attracting even more women to vie for him. What advantage would she have then? Thinking about this, Zheng Xianjing was filled with trepidation. But things did not turn out as Zheng Xianjing had feared. The 2 foreigners walked past Mo Qixin, approached the matriarch and slightly bowed, saying, "Madam Mo, I am Morris. This is my colleague Morris. We are assistants to Mr. Mog. Today we are here on Mr. Mog's behalf to congratulate you on your birthday, wishing you endless prosperity and a longevity that rivals the southern mountain." Chapter 245. Zheng Xianjing almost died of anger, made a big profit. 3 Meanwhile, Morris prepared a birthday gift for Madame Mo in advance. Mr. Mog? At the mention of this name, a gasp of surprise resonated from the crowd. Such an esteemed Mr. Mog. When did the Mo family establish a relationship with Mr. Mog? Standing by Mo Baichuan, Li Xianxian's lips twitched upward slightly. Although she had never met Mr. Mog, her memories from her previous life provided knowledge most average people lacked. Mr. Mog's last name is Mo, hailing from the Mo family in Beijing. Because of his low-key behavior, he has always remained out of the media limelight. In the Mo family aside Mo Baichuan, who else could possibly be Mr. Mog? The Mo family's 4 sons were too old and did not fit Mr. Mog's age range. Mo Qixin, the only one left, was a good-for-nothing. Mr. Mog is a graduate of a prestigious foreign university, but Mo Qixin didn't even complete high school. He doesn't even qualify to tie Mr. Mog's shoes. Therefore, in the entire Mo family, only Mo Baichuan could possibly be Mr. Mog. This is because Mo Baichuan had spent 4 years abroad, which meets the qualifications of Mr. Mog's prestigious university degree. Before Li Xianxian got close to the Mo family, she had already clearly figured these details out. Mr. Mog's visit to offer birthday gifts to Madame Mo today only confirmed Li Xianxian's belief that Mo Baichuan is indeed Mr. Mog. Just the thought that she was favored by such a heavy hitter filled Li Xianxian with more and more excitement. What she couldn't get in her previous life, she would now grasp firmly in this lifetime. Madame Mo had also heard of the famous Mr. Mog. She stood to receive the gift from Morris' hand and chuckled, "Please extend my thanks to Mr. Mog." Actually, Madame Mo was somewhat puzzled. Why would Mr. Mog suddenly send her a birthday gift? After all, before this, there was no interaction between the Mo family and Mr. Mog. However, Mr. Mog's act of sending birthday gifts today did save the Mo family a lot of face. Marcus said, "Our Mr. Mog is a junior in front of you, and it is only appropriate that we offer you a birthday gift. As it's not convenient for Mr. Mog to personally celebrate your birthday, he had us two come on his behalf. We hope Madame Mo won't mind." Madame Mo chuckled and replied, "Not at all, it's an honor for both of you that Mr. Mog is here. After all, he is Mr. Mog. 100 Mo families would still not compare to Mr. Mog." For a while, Morris and Marcus became the center of everyone's attention. Everyone wanted to establish a connection with Mr. Mog. If they couldn't meet him in person, they'd settle with pleasing his two assistants. Xianxia observed these people with a cold eye, full of contempt in her heart. Without meeting Mr. Mog, what's the use of pleasing two assistants? She just wondered what kind of expressions they would wear when these people found out that Mr. Mog was actually a Mo Baichuan. That would definitely be a sight to behold. Zheng Xianjing stole a glance at Mo Qixin and found him extremely reserved. Despite being Mr. Mog, he still maintained a low profile. Fortunately, she had found out everything ahead of time. Otherwise, she too would have become one of the many fools. Seeing Yang standing next to Mo Qixin, Zheng Xianjing's eyes darkened for a moment. Damn slut. Why was she standing at the side of Mo Qixin? This wasn't right. She must teach this little slut a lesson today. She would make her understand that a country bumpkin should know their own place. Zheng Xianjing approached Madame Mo and said with a smile, "Grandma Mo, I have prepared a surprise for you." Madame Mo's face was filled with kindness as she asked, "Oh? What surprise has Xianjing prepared for Grandma?" A servant brought over a box. Zheng Xianjing opened the box and continued, "I know Grandma Mo is a devout Buddhist, so I specifically purchased an enlightened strand of top-grade Zetan Buddha beads. I hope Grandma won't find it shoddy." This strand of Buddha beads was smooth with distinct patterns and top-tier quality. It couldn't be bought without tens of thousands of yuan. That's why Zheng Xianjing was so confident. She had already learned that Yang was just a country bumpkin. What sort of decent birthday gift could a country bumpkin come up with? Madame Mo laughed and said, "Not shoddy at all, how could it be? Xianjing, you are really thoughtful." Zheng Xianjing accordingly responded, "I should respect Grandma Mo." Saying this, she turned her gaze to Yang, adding gently, "The gift in Sister Yang's hand, is it prepared for Grandma Mo? I've heard Sister Yang is modest and has a unique perspective. Surely the gift you've prepared for Grandma Mo would also be original. Why not show it now and let the rest of us broaden our horizons?" Chapter 246. Zheng Xianjing, who nearly died of anger, made a fortune. For witnessing a spectacle? More like a laughingstock. Zheng Xianjing is eager to see Yang being ridiculed. With Zheng Xianjing's Buddha beads made of Zetan wood going for tens of thousands, it wouldn't matter what Yang would present, it would be a joke. Yang calmly walked up to Zheng Xianjing. "Then I need a little help from you, Xianjing." As soon as she finished speaking, she opened a long paper box in her hands, took out a painting scroll from inside, handed one end to Zheng Xianjing while she grabbed the other, slowly unfolding the scroll. Zheng Xianjing narrowed her eyes in doubt. Did Yang actually prepare a famous painting? Impossible. How could a country bumpkin possibly afford renowned artwork? As the painting scroll was revealed, the smile on Granny Mo's face gradually turned into shock. Lin Pingping was even more surprised, covering her mouth with her hand. Granny Mo looked at Yang. "Yang, did you draw this yourself?" Yang nodded. "Unlike Xianjing, I'm not as lavish, so I could only make a painting of longevity personally to present to Auntie Mo, wishing her a mountain of longevity, equal to heaven, boundless, prosperous life, infinite life span." Good. What a thoughtful child you are." Granny Mo repeated good 3 times, took the painting scroll of longevity in both hands, and displayed it for others to see. The painting showed a large character longevity. When you looked closely, you realized that this longevity was built by 100 smaller longevity characters. Moreover, these 100 longevity characters were written in 100 different styles, including seal script, clerical script, regular script, skinny gold script, cursive script, and so on. Most notably, each longevity character was beautifully written. Regardless its style, you couldn't identify a single error. Clearly, creating such a longevity painting required considerable time and effort. Also, only someone with real skill could create this longevity painting. If it wasn't witnessed firsthand, who would believe such a longevity painting could be drawn by a young girl's hand? This is unbelievable. Anyone who saw this longevity painting was like Granny Mo. Their eyes sparkled with shock. A rise of whispered gossip spread among the crowd. Imo eyes were filled with pride. His wife was just amazing. Xianxia was so angry she was about to explode. She originally wanted to see Yang make a fool of herself, but now her scheme had backfired, and Yang ended up taking the spotlight. Why didn't she think of gifting Granny Imo a longevity painting? If she had gifted the longevity painting to Granny Imo first, wouldn't she be the one stealing the limelight? There'd be no chance for Yang. Why should Yang take all the glory? When the banquet started, Granny Imo deliberately arranged for Yang to sit on her right, indicating her importance. Imo sat next to Yang, fearing she might feel too restrained to help herself, so he continually served her food and poured her drinks. Strangely, Yang did not dislike his actions, and instead occasionally whispered to him, portraying an intimate relationship, giving Granny Imo an immense joy. Excellent. She knew there is promise between these two. Some are jubilant, others are sorrowful. Imo Baichuan felt more and more irritated watching Yang and Imo Kishin's interaction. Blind. Yang was blind. Even if she wanted to provoke him, she shouldn't have picked Imo Kishin. If Yang could provoke him, then he could also provoke her. With that thought, Imo Baichuan reached out and clipped a large shrimp into Li Xianxian's bowl. Seeing the shrimp in her bowl, Li Xianxian was immensely flattered. She didn't expect the ice-cold Imo Baichuan would serve her personally. Indeed, even the proudest man would drop all pretenses when facing the woman he likes. Baichuan, thank you. Li Xianxian looked at Imo Baichuan affectionately. You're welcome. Imo Baichuan wiped his mouth with a handkerchief, his gaze unintentionally sweeping over Yang. Li Xianxian noticed a subtle change in Imo Baichuan's expression. Her eyes tightened immediately. Did he notice that little slut? Li Xianxian's grip on her chopsticks tightened. Of course, not only Li Xianxian felt bad, Zheng Xianjing could have bored holes with how she stared at Yang. Chapter 247. Zheng Xianjing, who nearly passed out in anger, made a big profit. _5. She had exhausted all her schemes and yet couldn't get any closer to Imo Kishin. Why was it that Yang could make it to heaven in one step and win Imo Kishin's favor? Just then, a sharp gaze from Imo Kishin drew across, causing Zheng Xianjing to tremble all over, nearly dropping her chopsticks. Immediately, she quickly withdrew her gaze, daring not to take another glance at Yang. After dinner, Imo Kishin took Yang home. It was a winter evening and by 4:30, it was already dark. It was very cold outside. Imo Kishin found a scarf for Yang and wrapped it around her. It's too cold today, why don't I just drive you home? Yang smiled and said, no need, cycling is just fine, I'm wearing a lot so I'm not cold at all. Compared to cars, Yang preferred the leisurely bicycle. Grandma Imo followed behind, instructing Imo Kishin to make sure to take Yang home safely. She also told Yang to come and visit when she had time. Yang said, okay, I will come often. It's cold outside, you should go in. Grandma Imo nodded and took a few steps inside, then suddenly stopped as if she remembered something. Wait. Yang, you guys wait. Yang and Imo Kishin stopped in confusion. Grandma Imo continued, wait here for me for 2 minutes. After she spoke, she briskly darted inside the house. A moment later she came out holding a red gift box. Yang, take this back and let your mom taste it. Grandma Imo shoved the red gift box into Yang's hands. A return gift for a birthday banquet couldn't be refused, so Yang didn't refuse and accepted it after thanking her. She didn't know what was in the gift box, but it was pretty heavy in her hand. Yang sat on the back of the bicycle holding the gift box. Yang, are you ready? Ready. Yang freed one hand to grab onto Imo Kishin's clothes. Then let's go. This era was not like what it would be in the future. After it got dark, there were hardly any people on the street. The road was deserted and extremely quiet. Looking at the deserted street, Yang asked, Brother Imo, will you be scared when you go back by yourself later? Imo Kishin laughed and said, no, if you're scared, just close your eyes. Yang shook her head, I am not scared. The smile on Imo Kishin's face deepened, and the speed of the bike got faster. The howling cold wind blew past her cheeks, and Yang slightly lowered her head, hiding her face behind him. It was warm and there was a sense of security. When Yang got home, Tsuehua and Chingue were already eating dinner. Although Quihua's cooking skills weren't as good as Yang's, the dishes she fried were beyond reproach. Mom and I am home. Yang walked in from outside with the gift box. Tsuehua stood up and said, Yang, you're back? Haven't you eaten yet? I'll get a rice bowl for you. Yang smiled and said, Mom, you don't need to worry, I already ate. That's good. And Tsuehua sat back down to eat. And Qingwei looked up at Yang and teased, Yang, who sent you back just now? And Yang smiled slightly, and didn't you already guess? And Qingwei continued, Yang, Auntie really thinks that young man Xiaoma is good. Let's not talk about anything else, just look at his face, who among the handsome actors on TV can compare with him? And Yang said, I'm still young and not considering those things yet. By the way, Grandma Mo gave me a return gift to bring back, let's see what's inside. As she finished her sentence, and Yang began to open the red gift box. And Chenghui's eyes were instantly attracted to the gift box. This was a return gift from a well-off family, where could she ever see this normally? Inside the gift box was a luxuriously tied king crab, and a bunch of pastries and candies. And Qingwei exclaimed in surprise, my word! I have never seen such a big spider in my lifetime. Can this even be eaten? Yang, mom, have you ever seen such a big spider? What a peculiar big household, the return gift for a birthday banquet actually was a big spider. And Tsuehua shook her head, I have never seen it either, is it going to cultivate into spirit? Beijing was up north and far from the sea, the transportation in this era was underdeveloped so it was hard for people to see seafood. Something like king crab was even unheard of. Therefore it was normal for Tsuehua and Qingwei not to recognize the king crab. Yang laughed as she explained, Mom and this is a king crab, a crab species that grows at depths of 850 meters in the deep sea. Chapter 248. Zheng Xianjing, who almost died of anger, made a big profit. _6. And Qingwei paused for a moment, then asked, a crab? Good heavens! This was the first time she had ever heard of such a crab existing in the world. It looked just like a giant spider. And Yang nodded, yes, it's a type of crab. And Tsuehua poked at the back of the king crab, curiously asking, Yang, can we eat this crab? Yes, it's edible, and Yang replied with a smile. This type of crab has thick meat, a delicious flavor, and is at least 10 times better than ordinary crabs. It's known as the king of crabs, that's why it's called the king crab. And Qingwei exclaimed in surprise, then this type of crab must be very expensive, right? I haven't looked into the exact price, but it shouldn't be cheap. In the future world, king crab would be sold at a staggering price of 1,000 yuan per gene, which ordinary families could hardly afford. In this era of undeveloped transportation, king crab must be even more expensive. And Yang never expected that Grandmother Mo's return gift would be a king crab. No wonder the gift box felt quite heavy when she carried it. Knowing what Yang just said, Qingwei realized the king crab must be very expensive and she sighed, affluent families are really different. They not only gift crabs but also high-grade king crabs, and even their pastries and candies are imported. 1 pound of these candies could probably match her monthly salary. Indeed, there should be no comparison between people. When she finished speaking, Qingwei gripped Yang's wrist and earnestly said, Yang, you must certainly hold on to Xiaoma dearly. Yang laughed, Auntie and no matter how good the husband, their stuff will always be theirs. What if he decides to divorce me when I grow old? Wouldn't it turn out to be just a burst of happiness? Therefore I think a girl should still rely on herself. As long as she has her own money, she won't have to marry someone for their money in the future. Qingwei sighed, that's true. Yang, despite her young age, understood things no less than those older than her. She even looked further into the future than some of them. Marrying a wealthy man is not as good as being wealthy oneself. This statement was too true. After some thought, Qingwei added, but I think Xiaoma probably isn't that kind of person. Yang just laughed without commenting, then asked, by the way, Auntie do you remember that a mysterious buyer had ordered 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer from me through you? Qingwei nodded, I remember, what about it? Auntie could you tell her tomorrow that the price of the whitening moisturizer has gone up? If she wants to buy it, it's now 800 yuan a box and she has to pay the full amount before I can give it to her. Yang's expression was calm, not minding the high price of 800 yuan. 800 yuan? This number did surprise Qingwei. Yang, has the price of the whitening moisturizer increased? Yang shook her head, the original price is still the same for others, only for that mysterious buyer it is 800 yuan. Xianxia had boasted in front of a crowd of wealthy young ladies, and Yang was curious to see if Xianxia would be willing to pay this price. Qingwei was a smart woman and she guessed the situation. Well, will she buy it? People nowadays are all very shrewd. 800 yuan is a sum that ordinary people would take several years to earn, unless the buyer is a fool. And even if the buyer is really foolish, it does not necessarily mean she has that much money. Remember, 30 bottles amount to more than 20,000 yuan. And Yang smiled. If she doesn't buy it, there are a bunch of people waiting in line. Also, Auntie and I don't give her any information about me. And Qingui nodded. Sure, Yang, I understand. The next morning, Yang went to the noodle restaurant. After several days of renovation, the neighboring shop was almost ready. Yang assigned all the work of buying tables, chairs, plaques and such to Wang Tiniu, and gave him 200 yuan. Being reliable, Wang Tiniu took others to the furniture factory and bought over a dozen tables and chairs the same day. He made sure that Yang didn't have to worry about the rest of the finishing work. The men cleaned up the neighbor's shop entirely, just waiting for Yang to choose an opening day. Since Yang trusted them so much, they couldn't let her down. Yang, this is the change from the purchase of materials. Wang Tiniu returned the remaining 30 yuan to Yang. Yang smilingly refused. Uncle Tiniu, you can use this 30 yuan to buy some cigarettes and alcohol to split amongst the other uncles. Chapter 249. Zheng Xianjing, who almost died of anger, made a big profit. 7 Yang was never stingy with those who depended on their labor to make a living. Purchasing people's hearts for 30 yuan, now that was a good deal. No need. Wang Tiniu said, Yang, we've already received so much wages from you, we can't possibly take more money from you under any circumstances. For a shop renovation completed in 15 days, Yang insisted on paying a wage of 60 yuan. Under normal circumstances, where could they earn so much money? Yang continued, Uncle Tiniu, there's no need for formality with me. With the new year approaching, consider this a small token of my appreciation. If you refuse to accept, next time I have a shop that needs renovating, I won't be hiring workers from our village. Upon hearing Yang's words, Wang Tiniu hesitantly accepted the money, then headed to the nearby convenience store to buy some cigarettes and liquor to share with everyone. With the new year coming soon, cigarettes and alcohol were essentials for every household. Yang's gesture undoubtedly eased everyone's pressing need. Now who in the village wouldn't praise Yang? When Xianxia heard that the price of the moisturizing cream had risen to 800 yuan per box, she thought she was hallucinating. She turned to the short-haired girl next to her. Did you hear correctly? Really 800 yuan? Wasn't it 108 yuan per box before? The short-haired girl nodded. My mom told me herself. Could she be wrong? And they also told me that you have to pay in full or they won't sell it to you. Why would the price suddenly rise so much? Isn't this asking for the moon? Xianxia frowned deeply. The short-haired girl shook her head. I don't really know too much about it, Xianxia. So, do you still want it? I need to tell my mom. 800 yuan per box. For Xianxia, this was undoubtedly an astronomical figure. Although she had now gained the favor of the Mo family, and Madame Mo treated her quite well, Madame Mo never gave her any cash. Even if Madame Mo did to maintain her image, Xianxia never accepted it. She worked as Mo Baichuan's private assistant and her monthly salary was just 90 yuan. The 30 boxes of moisturizing cream she had previously ordered exhausted all her savings. Now with the price soaring to 800 yuan per box, 30 boxes would cost 24,000 yuan. Where could she get that kind of money? But if she didn't order, how could she explain to those high society girls? She had already made big claims in front of them. In order to salvage her image, she had said she would give them some, for free. That's more than 20,000 yuan. The more Xianxia thought about it, the more her head hurt. Just then, Xianxia suddenly remembered the jade jewelry set that Madame Mo had given her when they first met. Surely those pieces must be worth quite a bit of money, right? How about pawning that set of jewelry first? After she marries Mo Baichuan, she could redeem the jewelry, right? Let's just deal with the immediate problem first. Xianxia bit her lip and finally decided to pawn her jewelry to buy the moisturizing cream. The next day, Xianxia took the set of jewelry to the pawn shop. After it was appraised, it was confirmed that Madame Mo's jade set was indeed of high quality, but she could only get 10,000 yuan for it. But how about the remaining 10,000 yuan? Having no other choice, Xianxia had to take out her other pieces of jewelry and pawn them too. After leaving the pawn shop, Xianxia made a trip to the hospital and sold over 500 milliliters of her blood, then borrowed some money from several classmates. After scraping together in every possible way, Xianxia was finally able to gather a total of over 20,000 yuan. After collecting this amount, Xianxia felt as if she had suffered a serious illness. She felt so miserable that she wanted to cry. If she had known it would be like this, she would never have boasted in front of those high society girls. However, the moment she thought about how this 20,000 yuan would help her secure a more stable position in the high society circles, she felt much better. After all, she was going to marry Mo Baichuan in the future. 20,000 yuan was nothing. When Ni Qinggui received the 24,000 yuan, her hands trembled. It was the first time she had seen so much money and the first time she had met someone so foolish. Rich people are really terrifying. When Ni Qinggui handed the money to Ni Yang was busy in the kitchen. Yang, this is the money from the mysterious buyer. Ni Yang looked surprised. They sent the money so soon? It seems that Li Xianxia was quite wealthy. She should have said it was 1,000 yuan per box earlier. Ni Qinggui nodded. Yang, who do you think this mysterious buyer is? How can they be so rich? 24,000 yuan. According to her monthly salary of 30 yuan, it would take her at least 66 years to earn this. And this person spent 24,000 yuan to buy 30 boxes of skincare products. Ni Yang smiled and said, perhaps they might be millionaires. Ni Qinggui sighed, they are so rich. How do they make so much money? Ni Yang took half of the stack of money and handed it to Ni Qinggui. Aunt and I take this. Ni Qinggui was startled and hurriedly refused. No, I can't accept it. No good deed goes unpaid and she wasn't entitled to any good deed. How could she accept such a large sum of money from Ni Yang for no reason? Ni Yang directly stuffed the money into Ni Qinggui's pocket. Aunt and I just keep it. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to sell the moisturizing cream at such a high price. Ni Yang was not the kind of person to be stingy, and the main credit for this transaction goes to Ni Qinggui. It was a total of 24,000 yuan. Even if she gave half to Ni Qinggui, she was still left with 12,000 yuan. She made a fortune on this order. Ni Qinggui still refused. No. Yang, listen to me, if your products sell for a high price, it's because they are good, it has nothing to do with me. Besides, you already give me a 1 yuan commission for each bottle, there is no way I can take more money from you, it would be rude. Ni Yang insisted on giving the money to Ni Qinggui. Aunt and I, you deserve this. Ni Qinggui frowned and said, Yang, I can't accept it. If you continue like this, I won't sell beautiful skin ice masks for you anymore. Seeing Ni Qinggui like this, Ni Yang had to take back the money for the time being. She plans to buy some jewelry for Ni Qinggui for the new year. Just then, a commotion came from the entrance. Is Yang home? Chapter 250, Unexpected Surprise. Investigating Sun Dalian's Castle. Listening to the voices, it seemed like there were more than one person outside. Ni Yang put away the money and went outside with Ni Qinggui saying, we're home. Ni Tsuehua also came out from inside carrying a child in her arms. As soon as they opened the courtyard gate, they saw a crowd of people standing outside. If it were someone else, seeing a crowd of people outside would certainly perplex them. But not Ni Yang. She immediately welcomed them warmly, saying, Uncle Lu, Aunt Wang, Aunt Ling, Grandpa Shi, please come in and have a seat. Uncle Lu was the one who suggested last time that he would help Ni Yang's family apply for a residential plot, homestead. Uncle Liu's family was known to be extremely frugal. People usually couldn't even get a sip of tap water from their house. However, his family had never been stingy with Ni Yang. His wife often brought Ni Yang vegetables and eggs, and even helped Ni Tsuehua look after her child. To be precise, all the villagers in Jianghu village treated Ni Yang very well. Even the most selfish villagers became exceptionally kind and friendly when they met Ni Yang. After all, Ni Yang was the lucky star of their village. Uncle Lu said with a smile, Yang, we are not going to sit down today. We came to tell you some good news. The villagers also nodded in agreement. Ni Qinggui joked, Uncle Lu, what kind of good news can you bring? Uncle Lu mysteriously replied, this good news will surely surprise you. Ni Qinggui replied, well then, let's hear it. Uncle Lu turned to Ni Yang and solemnly declared, Yang, the village has officially approved a homestead for your 3-member family. Now you're truly a part of our Jianghu village. Upon hearing this, Ni Tsuehua and Ni Qinggui were both stunned. Ni Tsuehua in particular was so moved that her eyes turned red. A homestead. Having a homestead meant that they could build a house in the village. For a farmer, having a house of their own in the village was their real home, their true roots. With a home you feel secure. Without a home you feel adrift. Ni Qinggui said, Uncle Lu, you can't joke about things like this. Ni Tsuehua and Ni Yang were not originally from Jianghu village. Could the homestead be approved so easily? For a moment, Ni Qinggui was a bit stunned, filled with joy for Ni Yang yet somewhat incredulous. This Uncle Lu was notorious for stirring the pot. What if he was joking? Uncle Lu laughed and said, "Look at what you're saying. I may not always be reliable, but I can't joke about this. Yang, here is your homestead certificate." As he said this, Uncle Lu handed the homestead certificate to Yang. Yang, the homestead allocated to your family by the village is right next to Chenghui's house. You can build a house there anytime. Considering that Qinggui and Yang were quite close, everyone had arranged for the site to be next to Chenghui's house during the application, making it convenient for both families to visit each other. One must admit, everyone had thought this through thoroughly. They were genuinely kind towards Yang. Back in those days, a homestead certificate was not a red booklet, but a white sheet of paper, stating the usable area of the homestead, the approver and the applicant. Uncle Lu, thank you. And thanks to all of you. Yang received the homestead certificate and bowed to everyone. She really hadn't expected that they would help her apply for a homestead. To say she wasn't moved would be a lie. They were outsiders and it wasn't easy to settle down in Jianghu village, let alone apply for a homestead. It is conceivable how much effort Uncle Lu and others put into this matter. Uncle Lu, somewhat embarrassed, said, "It's nothing. There's strength in numbers." We reported to the village and they readily approved it. The rest of them also agreed. Yang, Uncle Lu is right. We didn't exert much effort on this. Don't worry about it. Besides, we all live in the same village. It's normal to help each other. And you've helped us a lot too. As it was dinner time, Yang invited everyone for dinner. But everyone declined. Everyone was very happy that the homestead was approved, and they just came to relay the good news to Yang, not to freeload a meal. Yang was so good to them they couldn't always take advantage of her. Uncle Lu laughed and said, Yang, let's leave it for today. If you sincerely want to invite us for a meal, wait until the topping out ceremony of the new house. We can all celebrate together. Chapter 251, Unexpected Surprise Investigating Sun Dalian's Past _2. Topping out is a tradition in rural areas. It mainly refers to the process of installing the highest beam in the roof. When this beam is installed, it signifies that the house construction is complete. This process is also called topping out. On the day of the topping out, relatives and friends come over to celebrate, and the host will set a banquet to entertain them. This tradition is valued in the countryside. However, in later generations, as everyone bought houses to live in the city, this tradition was forgotten by many. Great, Yang laughed, everyone must come at that time. Lu Lao Lu and other villagers all nodded, definitely. We will be there. We'll go ahead for now, Yang. Yang and Tsuehua escorted everyone to the door. Watching everyone's retreating figures, Tsuehua raised her voice, they are all good people. Yang, we must not forget this kindness. We must always remember to be grateful. Back in Dam village, Tsuehua had never experienced such warmth before. But in Jinghua village, Tsuehua saw another side of human nature. Yang nodded, don't worry, Mom. This incident further strengthened Yang's determination to lead Jinghua village to prosperity. Seeing Tsuehua and Yang officially settling down in Jinghua village and successfully obtaining the land certificate, Qinggui was genuinely happy for Yang. It wasn't easy for Yang to have come this far. Qinggui still remembers when they first arrived in Jinghua village, everyone was wary of them as if they were thieves. In just half a year, everyone's opinion of them had changed so much. This was all thanks to Yang's good nature and her ability to win over people's hearts. Yang's mom, shall we go and check out the land plot? Qinggui suggested. Sure. Qinggui nodded. The three of them exited the courtyard. The plot granted by the village was located east of Chenghui's quadrangle courtyard. The location was very good. Qinggui laughed, we are going to be neighbors. Tsuehua was so excited that she didn't know what to say, repeatedly nodding her head. Yang gazed at this piece of land, and the hope shining in her eyes was as bright as the stars. What is hope? The land before her eyes was hope. Seeing the scene, even Qinggui, a woman herself, couldn't help but exclaim how beautiful Yang was. How could Yang be so beautiful? A beautiful young girl like Yang calls her Aunt which feels so honorary. To celebrate the happy day, Yang decided to cook a few more dishes. She reserved king crab given by old lady Mo. The king crab was huge. Yang cut it into halves, steam-cooked one half and stir-fried the other half with spices. Soon Yang decided on the rest of the dishes. Shrimp stir-fried with black beans. The Secrets of Longevity states, eating black beans replenishes the body, improves the complexion, fills vitality, increases strength, fills deficiency and enhances ability to eat. In other words, black beans have anti-aging effects. Enai Tsuehua was in her 30s and Enai Qingue was in her 40s. Eating black beans often would be very beneficial for them. Over the past half year, the changes in Enai Tsuehua and Enai Qingue have been tremendous. If it were not the fact that people saw them every day, they might even suspect a makeover. Stir-fried lamb liver. Lamb liver is packed with a variety of nutrients such as vitamin A, vitamin B2, and iron. Vitamin A stimulates the growth of the thymus gland, which makes the chest full and rounded. Therefore, this is a breast-enhancing dish. Enai Yang paid great attention to breast growth, so almost every day she prepared a breast-enhancing dish. The soup of the day was potato mushroom soup. Potatoes have a detoxifying and beautifying effect, eliminate eye bags, nourish the blood, and enhance vitality. Also, potatoes are a natural beauty product because they contain a lot of vitamins B and C, which can help lighten dark circles under the eyes. Enai Yang had to wake up early every day to work at the noodle restaurant. Black circles under her eyes were inevitable, but with potato mushroom soup, there was no fear of dark circles. After this period of dietary therapy and skin care, Enai Yang's skin was as smooth as a baby's. Her skin was so moist and soft, it looked like it would break with a single blow. Her body shape was also maintained very well. If it were to be described in a line of poetry, it probably would be: her face like the flowering hibiscus, her waist slender like a willow, incomparably charming and enticing. In this life, not only does Enai Yang want to become stronger, but she also wants to keep her appearance and body shape in the best state. Chapter 252, Unexpected Surprise Investigating Sundalian's Past _3. In this life, she was determined to be the best and most beautiful version of herself. Enai Yang brought the food to the dining room. Seeing Enai Yang come in, Enai Qingue quickly went to the kitchen to help carry the dishes. Enai Tsuehua, holding the baby, couldn't offer much help. Little Enai Yun was already 6 months old now, and by the 6th month, little Enai Yun had begun to recognize people. Seeing Enai Yang approaching, she would exclaim in excitement. During mealtimes, little Enai Yun would sit in a rocking crib nearby, playing by herself. Her soft and adorable behavior made everyone want to shower her with kisses. The steamed king crab retained its original flavor. The spicy version added extra numbing and aromatic tastes onto its original flavor. Both flavors had their unique charm. It was the first time Enai Qingue and Enai Tsuehua had ever tasted king crab, and they didn't know where to start with their chopsticks. Enai Yang found a pair of scissors and started to peel the crab meat while demonstrating to both of them. As Enai Yang moved, a tempting aroma wafted from the crab meat, making everyone's mouth water. Enai Yang distributed the peeled crab meat into Enai Qingue and Enai Qihua's bowls. "And Enai, Mom, you both should try it." Enai Qingue carefully placed a chopstick full of meat into his mouth. Known as top-grade seafood, the king crab blew him away once he tasted it. The crab was fresh, tender, crispy, smooth, and the pieces were fairly large. Each bite was bursting with happiness, making you impulsively close your eyes and marvel at the divine taste. How could there be such delicious food in the world? Delicious? It's absolutely delicious. Enai Qingue nodded repeatedly, brimming with excitement. Enai Qihua's face was also full of astonishment. The meal was incredibly satisfying. A king crab usually weighs around 7 to 8 kilograms. Together with 2 side dishes and a soup, these 3 women managed to finish everything, not even leaving the soup. Enai Qingue reclined on the sofa, exclaiming that whoever married Enai Yang in the future would be extremely fortunate. Enai Qihua's face was all smiles. Watching her daughter being so outstanding made her, as a mother, naturally proud. Enai Tsuehua wasn't foolish. She knew that the reason for their smooth life in Jianghu village was all thanks to Enai Yang. If it weren't for Enai Yang, she wouldn't even know where she would be right now. Enai Qingue continued, "When are you planning to build your house, Yang Yang's mom?" Enai Tsuehua smiled at Enai Yang. "It's all up to Yang Yang. Whenever Yang Yang says so." Enai Yang replied, "The new year is coming soon, so how about we wait until after that?" Even though Enai Yang had decided to buy more houses in Beijing, she still had to build a house in the village. There's a big difference between a bought house and a built house. Even though they grew up in Dam Village, Jianghu Village was the place that gave them a new outlook on life. It was inseparable. Enai Tsuehua nodded, "All right, well, do whatever you say." Once the decision to build a house was confirmed, Enai Yang began to draft the blueprint. Most houses built in this era looked similar. Enai Yang wanted to include some trendy elements, like an open-air balcony where they could barbecue and stargaze, and a sunroom which was indispensable, as well as a small garden. The allocated residential land in the village was large enough, so they could do whatever they wanted. However, one shouldn't rush when creating a blueprint. It should be done slowly. Yang didn't come up with any other designs at the moment, but she could add them in the future. After drafting a rough model, Yang went to the next room to study new skincare products. This time she planned to research anti-wrinkle cream. After all, aging is every woman's enemy. If the effect is good, there is no worry about being unable to sell it. The income from Yang's skincare products was very good during this time, with a daily income of 200 to 300 yuan. Adding the income from the noodle restaurant, she could now earn about 2,000 yuan per day. According to the current situation, once the milk tea shop next door opens, her daily income would be around 3,000 yuan. Calculating it this way, it would be 1.08 million yuan a year. 1.08 million may seem like a lot to ordinary people, but to Yang it was nothing. After all, Song Beiqing could spend over 3 million yuan a year on hiring chefs. However, she could use money to make more money. She could expand the skincare product business and also the noodle restaurant business. Turn this 1.08 million into 10.08 million 100, 0.8 million 1,000, 0.8 million or even more. Yang was never short of passion for life. Chapter 253, Unexpected Surprise Investigating Sun Dalian's Past _4. In the 80s, teeming with business opportunities, Yang brimmed with confidence in herself. After spending some time researching cosmetics, Yang went to sleep. When she woke up in the wee hours of the next morning, she was astonished to find that it was snowing outside. This was the first snowfall of the year. It was also her first snowfall after her rebirth. Yang bundled herself up tightly and caught a snowflake in her hand, surprised to discover that books hadn't lied. Snowflakes really were hexagonal. However, it quickly melted in the palm of her hand. Yang also readied the kitchen. Since it was snowing, she made a pot of red dates and corn porridge. On a winter morning, there's nothing like a bowl of steaming corn porridge to warm you from head to toe. Moreover, both corn and red dates are beneficial for energy, health, beauty, and complexion. After the porridge was ready, Yang served a bowl to Granny Imo, then picked up the dish she had prepared the night before and began to stir-fry it. Soon, enticing aromas wafted through the small kitchen. At 3:30 in the morning, Yang set off on her bicycle punctually. Though it was snowing heavily, she was insulated in her raincoat, and this didn't hinder her ride. When Yang arrived at the noodle restaurant, a thick layer of snow had accumulated on the ground. Her footprints crunched in the snow, and a thick layer of snow had also clung to her raincoat. Yang didn't waste a minute and got down to work as soon as she took off her raincoat. As she lit the gas stove, the room slowly warmed up. Soon she heard Zhou Qingshang and Wang Jinfang chatting outside. "Wow, the snow is really heavy." "Yes, it's been many years since we've seen such heavy snow, hasn't it?" "Must have been 7 or 8 years now. I remember the last time it snowed this heavily, I had just married Tiniu." The two of them entered the room chuckling. Yang smiled and said, "Aunt Wang and Jinfang, the weather is colder now. You don't need to come this early anymore. You can come at 6 o'clock. Wang Jinfang asked. "We couldn't sleep anyway. By the way, Yang, when are you planning to open the milk tea shop next door?" The shop next door had been renovated and was waiting for Yang to open. Seeing that the weather was getting colder, business for milk tea was sure to be good. Yang replied, "It'll open the day after tomorrow." She personally chose the opening day. Some things were better off believed than not, especially after Yang's rebirth. She believed in these things even more. Zhou Qingshang exclaimed excitedly, "Does that mean that Guden's mother and Xiaowa's mother can come to work with us from now on?" Speaking of this matter, Yang suddenly remembered she hadn't had a chance to inform Guden's mother and Xiaowa's mother yet. It seemed she had to settle this matter when she returned home in the evening. Yang replied, "Aunt Wang, you reminded me that I have to tell Xiaowa's mother and Guden's mother about this when I go home tonight. If they agree, they can start work together the day after tomorrow." Zhou Qingshang laughed. "How can they refuse such a great offer? They're not idiots. It's 60 yuan per month. That's 720 yuan a year. How many women are able to earn this much money?" Wang Jinfang nodded in agreement. The weather was unusually cold today, so there were a surprisingly large number of people coming for noodles. Besides, everyone ordered a cup of milk tea while eating noodles. The air was filled with the tartness of vinegar and the richness of milk tea, intertwining in a pleasant way. Yang had also customized disposable cups, so some people ordered another cup of milk tea to take away after finishing their noodles. In this severe winter, A cup of milk tea not only warms the heart but also the hands. Though the business was good, Yang ensured she took her scheduled break at noon. After lunch, Yang went to the bank to deposit money. She was bundled up from head to toe, only her cat-like peach blossom eyes visible. Being unfamiliar to many, no one could recognize her. With the additional amount of 24,000 yuan that Xianxia had given, Yang deposited a total of 60,000 yuan this time. All the people in the bank recognized Yang. When she entered, the teller greeted her warmly, "Miss Ni is here." Yang removed her scarf, revealing her beautiful face, smiling to the teller. Her smile was incredibly charming. The corners of her mouth curling up subtly as if drawing people in. The teller, in all her beauty and grace, was far more outstanding than the average person, but when she faced Yang she seemed just as plain. She was just too beautiful. A man in a suit came out from inside the bank. At a glance, he was stunned by Yang's beauty. Chapter 254, Unexpected Surprise Investigating Sun Dalian's Past _5. Beautiful women are not rare, but such charmingly spirited beauties truly are. She radiates a deep, classical aura, as if she stepped right out of a painting from the Republic era, a sight that lights up one's eyes. Even though this girl seems young, she has an aura that could stir one up. The man paused in his steps, then continued walking forward. Inside the car, he looked at his assistant and asked, "Don't we still need a teller at our bank?" The assistant was surprised, then nodded. The man continued, "That girl we just passed seemed quite impressive." Understanding his intent, the assistant immediately responded, "He'll handle it right away." Having said this, the assistant stepped out of the car. The assistant entered the bank hall and summoned the teller currently serving Yang, whispering something into her ear. Upon hearing him, the teller laughed and said, "That young woman isn't here for an interview, she's here to make a deposit. Also, I estimate she might not even be interested in this job." Any ordinary person, upon learning they could become a bank teller, would be so overjoyed they couldn't sleep. After all, working at a bank is considered a stable job. But who is Yang? She routinely deposits tens of thousands of yuan, so how could she possibly be interested in a teller job paying a monthly salary of just 35 yuan? "Wiry?" the assistant asked. The teller continued, "Do you know how much she is depositing this time?" The assistant shook his head. The teller extended her 5 fingers. 50? The assistant queried. The teller chuckled, 50? She probably wouldn't even glance at 50 yuan left lying on the ground. The assistant checked out Yang again, noticing her plain attire. "Could it be 500? The teller shook her head. Swallowing, the assistant asked, "Surely it's not 5,000, right?" The teller replied, 5,000 times 10. "How much is 5,000 times 10? The assistant was momentarily stunned. After a while he figured out the answer. With trembling legs he returned to the car and shared the news with the man inside. Upon hearing him, the man was momentarily astounded. He hadn't expected that someone dressed so simply could be so rich. 50,000 yuan meant nothing to him, but for the average person, it was a fortune. After depositing the money, Yang made her way to the detective agency. Xiaozhou at the detective agency warmly welcomed Yang. "Miss Ni, what service may I assist you with this time?" Ever since Yang gave him the sour jujube seeds last time, Xiaozhou hadn't suffered from insomnia again. Xiaozhou was truly grateful to Yang, and he marveled at how profound and extensive traditional Chinese medicine is, much better than treating symptoms without addressing the root cause, which Western medicine often does. Yang chuckled, "This time, I want you to investigate someone for me." Xiaozhou poured a cup of tea for Yang. "Please tell me who." Yang lifted the cup and took a sip of tea. "I want you to investigate Sun Dalian." "Sun Dalian?" Xiaozhou pondered and then said, "Isn't she the daughter of Li Shu, who you had me investigate last time?" Yang nodded affirmatively, "Yes, her. I want to know about her past in the countryside." Yang had a gut feeling that Xianxia had a past she desperately wanted to keep hidden. If Xianxia wanted to hide it, then Yang was even more determined to unearth the truth. She intended to take revenge for what happened in her previous life, bit by bit. She wouldn't let Xianxia die easily, nor live comfortably. Xiaozhou nodded in agreement. "All right, no problem." Yang took out 300 yuan and placed it on the table. "This is the deposit." Xiaozhou collected the money and mentioned, "By the way, Miss Ni, someone has been investigating you." All detective agencies share information with each other. As long as Xiaozhou paid attention to a specific individual, he could get up-to-date information about them, no matter how minor. It's Li Xianxian, isn't it? Enai Yang said, smiling lightly. Li Xianxian didn't know much about Enai Yang's previous life, so to learn more she had to investigate. Xiaozhou was taken aback for a moment. He didn't expect Enai Yang to pinpoint the culprit right away. Xiaozhou continued, Li Xianxian is investigating your current condition, but rest assured Miss Enai, we only provided her with information she could easily discern, nothing else was revealed. Xiaozhou was trying to repay Enai Yang's past kindness, considering how much she had helped him before. Enai Yang responded with a smile, Thank you Mr. Xiaozhou. It's me who should be thanking you Miss Enai. Xiaozhou stood up and said, The remedy you suggested last time really saved me. Chapter 255, Unexpected Surprise Investigating Sun Dalian's Past _6. Enai Yang said, Mr. Xiaozhou, there is no need to be so polite. It was just a prescription, which is what someone in my profession ought to do. Her tone was calm. There wasn't any trace of self-satisfaction in her eyes, as if she didn't see this as something to be proud of. As a detective, Xiaozhou had encountered all sorts of people, but he had never met anyone as modest as Enai Yang. What's more, she was only 17 years old. As Xiaozhou looked at Enai Yang, a phrase suddenly came to his mind. Quiet as a chrysanthemum. His admiration for her deepened even further. He couldn't help but wonder what kind of family could raise such an excellent daughter. After leaving the detective agency, Enai Yang headed back to the noodle shop. Business was still bustling in the afternoon, but Enai Yang didn't extend the shop's opening hours. She kept to her regular closing time, and the patrons also respected her routine. They would stop getting in line by 6:30 p.m. After work, Enai Yang headed to the vegetable market and bought some beef and lamb for a hot pot dinner. The idea of a cozy night in with the family gathered around the table and a steaming hot pot in the snow was simply delightful. It had been snowing all day, leaving a thick layer of snow on the road at least 10 centimeters deep. Riding on snowy roads was certainly more challenging than on smooth lanes, so it took Enai Yang over 40 minutes to get to the entrance of Jianghu village. Enai Tsuehua had been worried about Enai Yang encountering any difficulties on her way, so she waited outside early, cradling little Enai Yun in her arms. Seeing Enai Yang riding home, she finally smiled. Look, your sister is back, Enai Tsuehua told little Enai Yun. On seeing Enai Yang, little Enai Yun started to chirp excitedly, his eyes squinting with excitement. Yun, have you been a good boy and listened to mommy's words today? Enai Yang bent down to pat little Enai Yun's head. At 6 months old, little Enai Yun didn't understand Enai Yang's words. He only knew that he was happy to see his sister and reached out, wanting her to hold him. Enai Yang laughed and said, Wait a while, sis will hold you when we get home. Enai Tsuehua said, The roads are hazardous in this snowy weather, Yang. How about you take a day off tomorrow? It will not be an issue if we don't open the noodle shop for a day. You see, we can't possibly earn all the money in the world, but health is paramount. Enai Yang laughed and replied, I'm okay, Mom. I'm still young, so a bit of hardship doesn't scare me. If I don't seize the opportunity to work hard now, I may not get another chance later. Missing the chance to earn some money in such a prosperous era would make it much harder to strike gold in the future. As soon as they arrived home, Enai Yang got off her bike and unloaded the stuff she bought. She took little Enai Yun from Enai Kuihua's hands, then said, Mom, I'm going to call on Gooden and Xiaohua. All right, Enai Tsuehua said, nodding her head, be careful on the road. After Enai Yang left, Enai Tsuehua started to sort out the food Enai Yang had bought. Importantly, Enai Tsuehua could tell what they'd be having for dinner based on the ingredients Enai Yang had returned with. First, she washed the beef bones and started to boil a soup. In the meantime, she washed the other ingredients. Though Enai Tsuehua didn't know how to make hot pot base, she prepared everything else. When Enai Yang returned, they would just need to cook the base and then they could start eating. Gooden's place was the nearest, so Enai Yang visited him first, knocking on the door. Who's that? It's me, Enai Yang. As Gooden heard it was Enai Yang, he promptly perked up and ran to open the door, exclaiming, Sister Enai Yang, I'm coming. Sister Enai Yang, our family is about to have dinner, you should join us. Jokingly, Enai Yang said, I eat a lot, you know. Are you sure you want me to eat you out of house and home? Beating his chest, Gooden replied, No worries. You can eat as much as you want, Sister Nayang. Then Gooden leaned closer, lowering his voice to whisper, I have a secret for you, Sister Enai Yang. My mom made braised pork for dinner tonight. It may not taste as good as the one you cook, but it's still decent. Enai Yang couldn't help but smile, reaching out to tap Gooden's head. Gooden's mother, Han Xiaoqin, came out from the house. She took little Enai Yun from Enai Yang and warmly said, And Yang, do come in. Gooden's dad and Yang is here, please add a pair of chopsticks. Alright. It must be cold outside. Come in quickly. And Yang was now one of the most popular figures in Jianghu village. No matter where she went, she was always given the VIP treatment. Chapter 256. Unexpected surprise, investigating Sun Dalian's past. Why the living conditions of Gooden's family were average in the village, with 5 earthen houses and the living room located in the middle. It was dinner time and the whole family was gathered in the living room. Seeing Yang come over, Gooden's grandparents warmly stood up. Yang is here, come sit, old man, hurry and fetch some candy from the room. The elderly often stash away some treats. Gooden's grandpa immediately went to get some candy. If it were anyone else, they wouldn't be willing to give away their candies, but Yang was different. Yang was their little lucky star in the village. Yang sat down. Uncles and aunties, grandparents, you don't have to be so polite, I just came to talk about something. Gooden's father brought over a new set of bowls and chopsticks. Talk after you eat. Nothing is more important than eating. Han Xiaoqin picked up an extra pair of chopsticks and gave Yang a piece of meat. Yang, have some meat. It might not be as good as what you make, don't mind it. In this era, meat was something people couldn't afford to buy at 2 yuan per pound. Gooden's family had many children, making their living circumstances even harder. They barely had meat to eat throughout the year. They only dared to buy some meat this time because Gooden's dad had worked for half a month at Yang's shop and earned 120 yuan, so they purchased some meat for everyone to enjoy on this snowy day. Gooden's family was extremely warm and hospitable, so Yang picked up her chopsticks and ate a piece of meat, which was just common courtesy. If she didn't eat at all, wouldn't it be a waste of their kind intentions? The meat was very delicious, it melted in the mouth and was not greasy at all. Auntie Han, your cooking skills are very good. Having received Yang's praise, Han Xiaoqin couldn't stop smiling. Gooden's grandpa handed a bunch of candies to Yang. Yang quickly took them with both hands. Thank you, Grandpa. Gooden's grandpa laughed heartily and said, don't be shy with Grandpa. Yang continued, Auntie Han, I came here to discuss something with you. Han Xiaoqin said, Yang, just say what's on your mind. Don't be so polite with Auntie. As long as it is something that Auntie can do, I will definitely help you. Yang smiled and proceeded to invite Han Xiaoqin to work at the milk tea shop. The salary is the same as Auntie Zhou and Aunt Jinfeng, 60 yuan a month. If you think that is suitable, you can start work the day after tomorrow. Upon hearing this, Gooden's grandparents both stood up in excitement. 60 yuan a month. Even a steady job in the city wouldn't have such a high salary. Han Xiaoqin excitedly said, perfect. It's just perfect. Yang, Auntie doesn't know how to thank you. Yang said, you don't have to be like this. It's the same no matter who I hire. So it's settled then, Auntie. I need to go to Xiaowa's house next to discuss this matter with Xiaowa's mom. Gooden's grandparents as well as his parents all escorted Yang out of their home together. Watching Yang walk away, Gooden's grandma sighed, Yang is such a thoughtful girl. All of you children should learn from Yang. Even when you become successful in the future, you must never forget this kindness. The children all nodded their heads. If it were any other day, they'd definitely be unwilling to listen. But they had no choice but to listen today. After all, it was Yang they were talking about. In all of Jianghu village, where could you find another person like Yang? After leaving Gooden's house, Yang visited Xiaowa's house, and without a doubt, she received the best treatment in the entire village. When she came back, Xiaowa's grandma insisted on giving Yang a large bottle of fresh milk. Fearing that Yang might refuse, Xiaowa's mom, Wang Tsuaping, accompanied Yang all the way to the Ni's house. Upon reaching the courtyard, Wang Tsuaping placed the bottle of milk on the ground and left. She knew that if she didn't leave, Yang would definitely stuff a bunch of return gifts to her. Yang called out watching Wang Tsuaping's retreating figure, Aunt Tsuaping, be careful on the road. Wang Tsuaping replied with a laugh, don't worry, I know the roads in the village like the back of my hand. I could find my way home even with my eyes closed. After she got home, Yang made a spicy hot pot base, poured freshly made bone soup into a copper pot, sprinkled some scallions and cilantro on it to complete her red oil soup. As she brought the copper pot to the table, Tsuehua brought the prepared ingredients to the table. There were fresh vegetables, beef and mutton, shrimp paste, duck's blood, enoki mushrooms, catfish and so on. Because Chingue and Tsuehua could drink, Yang also warmed 2 bottles of ginger rice wine. While a heavy snow fell outside, the 3 of them sat in the house enjoying the hot pot. The ambience was extremely warm and cozy. Because the milk tea shop was about to open, and Yang did some promotion in the noodle restaurant the next day. The next day the milk tea shop next door officially opened. Because it had snowed the night before, and Yang went early to clear the snow in front of the shop. As she parked, a tall figure emerged from the side. Yang. And Yang was taken aback. Brother Mo? It was just after 3 in the morning and Yang was surprised to see Mo Chishan there. Mo Chishan smiled and said, I knew about your opening today so my mom asked me to come over and wish you well and help out. And Yang asked, Brother Mo, how did you know my milk tea shop is opening today? Mo Chishan mysteriously said, do you think it's hard to know this? It really wasn't difficult to know as she had promoted it in the noodle restaurant just yesterday. Mo Chishan added, let's not stand here like fools, let's go in. Oh right. And Yang led Mo Chishan into the shop. Mo Chishan was someone who knew how to take initiative. He found a broom straight away. Men are supposed to do the outside work while women handle the inside. Yang, you just take care of the tasks inside. They'll clear the outside snow. Finished speaking, he didn't give Yang a chance to refuse and carried the broom outside. There was indeed a lot to do on the first day of opening, so Yang didn't stand on ceremony. When Yang finished her tasks inside and came out, she found that Mo Chishan had not only cleared all the snow but also built 2 huge snowmen. Yang said in surprise, Brother Mo, you're pretty quick. Mo Chishan casually replied, what's a bit of work for a man? It's nothing. Marcus and Morris, who were sitting in the car, silently took credit for the work. It was all worth it as long as the boss was happy. Chapter 257. Mysterious boss tricks Xianxia rescuing boss and I understood. At this point the snow outside had stopped. Mo Chishan somehow found 2 large red scarves to put on the snowmen. These 2 snowmen, standing at the entrance of the milk tea shop, were attracting a lot of attention as if they were welcoming guests. Yang touched one snowman then the other, exclaiming, Brother Mo, you're amazing. Yang had hands that could heal and cook delicious dishes, could make all kinds of skincare products, but when it came to building snowmen she was the kind of person who would fail as soon as she tried, despite knowing how to theoretically. If she were tasked with building such a large snowman she wouldn't be able to do a good job even given a whole day. Mentioning this, Mo Chishan modestly touched his nose tip, replying, it's okay, just okay. Yang went on to say, Brother Mo, I made breakfast, come eat with me. It was only a little past 4 o'clock, and she knew Mo Chishan hadn't eaten yet, so during the lull in her cleanup she made some breakfast. When Mo Chishan heard there was food, his eyes lit up, replying, great. The 2 then entered the noodle restaurant. Yang placed the cooked breakfast on the table. Steamy milk tea, a couple of sunny-side-up eggs and a bowl of fragrant sour fish noodles. The surface of the noodles was evenly covered with a thin layer of sour fish, making it a mouth-watering, delectable dish. As Mo Chishan sat down for breakfast he asked, Yang, aren't you eating? Yang took a sip of her milk tea, replying, I've already eaten at home, a cup of milk tea is enough for me. Mo Chishan ate his meal slowly but with grace. Even when eating noodles not a single sound could be heard. He was quiet and elegant. Yang just sat across from him, drinking her milk tea and chatting with him. Soon Mo Chishan finished his bowl of noodles, saying, Yang, I'm done. Brother Mo. Yang suddenly stood up. Don't move? What's wrong? Mo Chishan was taken aback. Yang leaned closer to him. The light from the window seemed to drape her in a soft glow, making her seem radiant and surreal. Mo Chishan blanked out, his heart beating erratically, with the only sound he could focus on being the pounding of his own heartbeat. In between his breaths he could feel a warm breath, the air seemed to hold a mysterious tension. Mo Chishan was too stunned to move, he even held his breath in fear. The next second Yang reached out her hand, the cooling feeling of her fingertips lightly brushed against Mo Chishan's lips. You have a piece of spring onion here. A piece of spring onion. He couldn't believe that she'd got his heart fluttering so much, just to remove a piece of spring onion. For a moment he thought Yang was going to kiss him. Hopefully the spring onion didn't ruin his image in her eyes. Mo Chishan's cheeks instantly turned pink as he stuttered, Thank you. You're welcome. Yang replied with a small smile. Mo Chishan followed Yang to the kitchen. Yang, let me help you make the milk tea. They busied themselves in the kitchen and soon Zhou Qingshang, Wang Jinfeng, Han Xiaoqin, and Wang Cuiping arrived. Since it was Han Xiaoqin and Wang Cuiping's first day of work, and they were unfamiliar with many things, Yang went to the milk tea shop to guide them. Mo Chishan, on the other hand, offered to stay and help at the noodle restaurant. In fact, he wanted to go to the milk tea shop with Yang, but he wanted to leave a good impression on her even more. At 6 o'clock in the morning, New York milk tea officially opened. This time Mo Chishan, like before, had carpets and flower baskets delivered, which attracted quite the crowd. The milk tea was only 3 cents a cup and it tasted good. Plus, because it was the first day of operation, there was a buy one get one free promotion which led to a long queue forming. Even people who'd merely walked past and had never tried milk tea before couldn't help but stop and queue up for a cup. The milk tea was pre-made, and the tapioca pearls were also pre-cooked. This made serving each cup particularly fast. Even those in queue didn't have to wait for long. Only in one morning, Yang had sold over 2,000 cups. The business from the neighboring noodle restaurant was also booming. To celebrate the opening of the milk tea shop, Yang bought a roast duck from the roast duck store, 3 pounds of braised pork and some vegetables from the braised pork shop. She also made a large pot of sour fish noodles. They ate the meat with the noodles, and with 6 people at the table they had a joyous meal. Mo Chishan didn't leave until nighttime when they closed for the day. Yang followed him out to send him off, saying, "Brother Mo, thank you so much for today." Chapter 258. Mysterious Boss Tricks Xianxia Rescuing Boss and I_2. Mo Chishan was pushing his bicycle with one hand, while he couldn't help but ruffle her hair with the other. "No need to thank me." Seeing that Yang didn't show any signs of disgust, Mo Chishan, gathering up his courage, ruffled her hair again. Soft and fluffy like a little kitten. Finally able to touch his wife's head, Mo Chishan narrowed his satisfied eyes. Arriving at the fork in the road, Mo Chishan stopped. Yang, I'll leave you here. Go back quickly, it's too dark and it's dangerous for a girl like you." Yang nodded. "Then brother Mo, I'll go back first." Mo Chishan waved at her. "Go ahead." Watching Yang's retreating figure, Mo Chishan took out a cigarette from his pocket and lit it slowly. The little girl is really capable. She'd been driving him crazy all over. A day without seeing her feels like madness. Nowadays, every passing minute without her feels the same way to him. After finishing a cigarette, Mo Chishan pushed his bicycle forward. "Uncle Mo." A string of footsteps came from behind. Xianxia caught up with him quickly. "Uncle Mo, it's such a coincidence to meet you here this late." In the dim night, his handsome features were enveloped in a layer of gentle mist, making him appear mysterious and distinguished, which nearly made Xianxia infatuated. Nowadays, men with good looks and status were becoming increasingly rare. She had to hold on to him tightly. Mo Chishan couldn't be bothered with her, not even giving a sideways glance to Xianxia. But Xianxia wasn't discouraged. She cooed, "Uncle Mo, it's so dark now, it's not safe for me to be alone on the road. Could you give me a ride home?" Surely at this late hour, Mo Chishan wouldn't have the heart to let her walk home alone. Soon he would be riding his bike with her. The scenario would definitely be as romantic as watching a movie. Just thinking about it, Xianxia felt extremely flattered. This is the famous Mr. Mog. Thankfully she had good vision. She hadn't overlooked him like Zhao Jingrong. "No." Mo Chishan flatly refused, his tone slightly cold. "Uncle Mo." Xianxia tugged at Mo Chishan's sleeve, starting to flirt. It said that it's harder for a man to win a woman's heart than for a woman to win a man's. She firmly believed she would move Mo Chishan's heart. "Let go of me." Mo Chishan swatted Xianxia's hand away, looking back at her. "As a girl, don't you have any sense of shame? Making a scene in public, tugging and pulling at a man, what does that make you look like?" Perhaps Mr. Mo had forgotten the actions of a certain young girl this morning. They were even more intimate than Xianxia's. Xianxia felt wronged and her eyes began to tear up. She had always been treated like a princess. When was she ever scolded so bluntly? Moreover, the person who scolded her was the one she liked. One can only imagine how Xianxia felt at that moment. Could it be, in Mo Chishan's eyes, she was shameless? No, she couldn't let these few words make her give up on Mo Chishan. Feelings between men and women need time to develop. Tang Monk's journey to fetch the scriptures had to go through 81 trials. What was this little setback compared to that? "Uncle Mo." Xianxia quickened her pace to catch up. "Uncle Mo, I love you. I don't care that you have nothing right now, and I don't care about your middle school education. I love you for who you are. No matter what happens in the future, I will always love you." She was different from Zhao Jingrong. Zhao Jingrong despised Mo Chishan for being an unsuccessful loser, but she accepted him. She believed she could move Mo Chishan with her sincerity and love. After all, girls who don't care about money were rare these days. At that, Mo Chishan turned to look at Xianxia, slowly spoke, "But I despise you." Here he looked Xianxia up and down, enunciating each word, for being too ugly. Too ugly. He actually said she was ugly. All her life, Xianxia's greatest pride was her face. She had a classic oval face, almond eyes, cherry lips. Wherever she went, everyone complimented her beauty, and her place as the school beauty had never been contested. The queue of boys chasing her could stretch down a street. After he finished speaking, Xianxia hopped on his bike and left without looking back. He moved quickly, and it wasn't long before his figure was out of sight. Xianxia stood behind, her eyes crimson with fury. She couldn't hold back her tears and started crying out loud. All of this was that bitch Ni Yang's fault. Chapter 259. Mysterious Boss Tricks Xianxia Rescuing Boss Ni_3. If it weren't for Ni Yang's interference, Xianxia would surely not have found her unattractive. She will not let off Ni Yang, the little bitch who dares to compete for a man. As the Mo family's villa appeared close by, the riding speed of Xianxia slowly decreased. A black luxury car gradually stopped beside him. Marcus and Morris stepped out of it. Xianxia took out a cigarette from his pocket, lit it up and said with a murmuring smile, "Investigate Xianxia's whereabouts in the recent days." Marcus and Morris nodded respectfully. Xianxia flicked the ash of his cigarette and continued, "Don't hover around here in the next few days. Okay, go back now. If there is a problem, just contact me by phone." "Yes, Mr. Mog." Xianxia barely lifted his eyes. Marcus and Morris trembled with fright and promptly corrected themselves, "Yes, sir." Without saying much, Xianxia turned and walked toward the main entrance of the villa. The next day, Xianxia went shopping at the department store with her girlfriends. From a distance, she saw Xianxia standing there with Mr. Mog's assistants, Morris and Marcus. Xianxia was thrilled. She knew she was not mistaken that day. Xianxia and Mr. Mog were the same person. To avoid her girlfriends discovering this secret, Xianxia, under some pretext, sent them off. She, on the other hand, walked quietly toward Xianxia. As she got closer, she could hear their conversation clearly. "Mr. Morris, Mr. Marcus, please let me meet Mr. Mog." Marcus scoffed, "Who do you think you are? Can you meet our Mr. Mog whenever you want?" Morris said, "Mr. Mo, I'm sorry, Mr. Mog does not meet any visitors. There is nothing we can do if he doesn't want to see you." Xianxia continued, "Mr. Mog sent a birthday gift to my mother last time. Did you tell him who I am?" Hearing this, Xianxia was completely stunned. Her eyes widened. She thought she would hear some business secrets. Unexpectedly, this was what she heard. So, Xianxia was really not Mr. Mog. This was just her wishful thinking. How could this be? Last time, she clearly saw Marcus and Morris treating Xianxia with reverence. Did she misinterpret? Xianxia tried hard to recall that scene. Thinking back now, she seemed to overthink because she did not clearly see Mr. Mog. She just saw an ambiguous side face. She just thought the side face looked like Xianxia. In fact, it was not Xianxia at all, it just looked like him. Yes. How could a good-for-nothing like Xianxia be the famous Mr. Mog? She must have been blind before. No wonder Zhao Jingrong is so determined to divorce Xianxia. Xianxia bit her lip tightly, wishing she could kill her foolish self from the past with a slap. So foolish. She was really foolish. If Xianxia is not Mr. Mog, then who is he? As Mr. Mog took the initiative to send a birthday gift to Madame Mo, he must have some connection with the Mo family? Recalling the fuzzy side face, Xianxia thought of Mo Baichuan's face. In fact, that person looked a little like Mo Baichuan. She was too confused at that time and thought of Xianxia first. Thinking about it now, Mo Baichuan seemed more likely to be Mr. Mog. Could it be Mo Baichuan? Xianxia squinted her eyes. Over by the column, Xianxia was still shamelessly pestering Manus and Morris. Marcus pushed Xianxia out. "Go away, our Mr. Mog will not see you." Xianxia angrily said, "Don't despise me because I am poor. Times change. Just wait." With that, he strode away. Waste. Xianxia is a waste. If it were Mo Baichuan, Marcus would definitely not dare to push him. When Xianxia looked at Xianxia again, she was full of contempt and she left the place with a furious expression. Looking at Xianxia's retreating figure, Marcus trembled with fear. Oh God. He actually pushed the boss. Morris thumped Marcus' shoulder, adding fuel to the fire. "You not only pushed Mr. Mog but you also called him a nobody." Marcus nervously swallowed. "I was just assisting Mr. Mog. There should be no problem, right? Mr. Mog shouldn't be so petty, right?" Chapter 260. Mysterious boss tricks Zheng Xianjing rescuing boss and I_4. If Mr. Mog was to hold grudges, then he's a goner. Why was he subjected to such a vile role? Life is already so challenging, why does he have to face such torments? Morris shrugged his shoulders. Whether Mr. Mog will blame you or not depends on the performance. If the audience believes it or not. Marcus looked around and asked, "Where is the audience?" Morris gave a mysterious smile. Marcus continued, "Why would Mr. Mog have us perform this play out of the blue?" Morris replied, "If I could guess what on Mr. Mog's mind, wouldn't I essentially become Mr. Mog?" Marcus scratched his head looking puzzled. When Zheng Xianjing once again came to her little sisters, her face was as white as paper. One of the sisters worriedly asked, "Xianjing, are you okay?" Zheng Xianjing managed a faint smile. "I'm fine, just feeling a bit sick. Maybe we should head back." "Go back? Aren't we going to the noodle restaurant?" Zheng Xianjing originally planned to bring her sisters to give Ni Yang a piece of her mind at her noodle restaurant today. After this incident, how could Zheng Xianjing still be in the mood to pick a fight with Ni Yang? She needs to find out who the real Mr. Mog is as soon as possible. She wants to become a truly superior person. Zheng Xianjing continued, "Let's not. She's just a commoner, not worth my time." "Oh well, just go back then." The sisters ushered Zheng Xianjing towards the exit. Just by coincidence, as they reached the entrance of the mall, they saw Imo Qishan walking out. Usually, Zheng Xianjing would follow Imo Qishan regardless of anything. But not today. Such a loser, he's not worthy of her. Bemoaning her past blindness. Thinking about how Imo Qishan had ruthlessly humiliated her last night, Zheng Xianjing felt anger rise within. What right does this loser have to insult her? Thinking thus, Zheng Xianjing lifted her chin high, walking past Imo Qishan with a haughty demeanor. From now on, she would make him realize that they are from two different worlds. The future her is someone beyond his reach. Regardless of Zheng Xianjing's actions, Imo Qishan didn't spare her a second glance. He calmly headed in the opposite direction. If you look closely, you could see a hint of mockery hidden deep within his eyes. Once Imo Qishan left, the sisters near Zheng Xianjing started discussing in low voices, "That man just now, he's handsome. Even more so than the pretty boys on television." "Yeah, absolutely. If only my boyfriend was that attractive." "I'm not asking for much, half of his looks would do," Zheng Xianjing responded coldly to their chatter. "Attractive? Can you eat attractiveness?" Looks certainly can't feed you, which is why they are trying to ingratiate themselves with Zheng Xianjing, hoping she can introduce them to a higher quality social circle. Men die for wealth, birds die for food. Who doesn't want to be a part of the elite circle? As days passed, with the end of the year drawing near, Ni Yang began preparing for the New Year purchases. At noon that day, Ni Yang rode her bicycle to the station to pick up Ni Tsuehua, to go shopping for the New Year together. This was Ni Qihua's first visit since the renovation of the milk tea shop and noodle restaurant. Standing in front of the two shops, Ni Qihua's face was filled with disbelief. Everything felt so unreal, like a dream. Yang, Ni Tsuehua held Ni Yang's hand tightly, her eyes filled with tears. Is this really our shop?" "Yes." Ni Yang nodded. Ni Tsuehua just stared at the two connected shops, silent for a long time. She was genuinely happy. It was not easy for Ni Yang to have achieved what she has. "Mum, let's go inside, it's cold outside," said Ni Yang. Holding little Ni Yun in one hand and leading Ni Tsuehua with the other. "Mum, let's be careful, Aunt Jinfeng and the others are inside resting." "Okay." Ni Tsuehua nodded. Once inside the shop, Ni Yang made Ni Tsuehua a cup of milk tea. After showing Ni Tsuehua around the shop, the two women, along with little Ni Yun, left to make their New Year purchases. As they walked out, the owner of the neighboring shop asked with a smile, Yang, is this your mom?" Ni Yang nodded, "Yes, Auntie Feng, this is my mum and this is my sister." Ni Tsuehua, no longer as humble as when she first arrived in the city, greeted naturally, "Hello." Chapter 261. Mysterious Boss Tricks Zheng Xianjing Rescuing Boss Ni_5. Feng Yu also laughed and greeted Ni Tsuehua, "Big sister, you've really raised a good daughter. I've never seen a girl as capable as Yang. She's only 17 but already the boss of two shops. If it wasn't witnessed firsthand, who would believe it?" After Ni Yang walked away with Ni Tsuehua, the nearby business owners all came out to gossip with Feng Yu. Was that woman just now Yang's mother? Yes. Feng Yu nodded. No wonder Yang is so good-looking, her mother isn't bad either. Yang is 17 today, her mother must be at least 34, right? She looks like she's in her 20s. Exactly, why are they both so pretty? Look at my skin compared to theirs, I'm like an old cucumber skin. Another chimed in, if your skin isn't good, I recommend you to use a skincare product. A relative of ours is using it. She's been using it for half a month, and her skin is as smooth as if she changed a layer. Really? What's the brand? It seems to be called Ice Crystal Jade Skin. You mean Ice Crystal Jade Skin? I know that brand too. I'm using their facial cleanser and aloe vera gel now, but the whitening moisturizer seems a bit hard to get. I've tried to buy it 3 times and haven't got it. I know that brand too. One bought a bottle of the whitening moisturizer. The effect is indeed very good, just that the price is a bit expensive, equivalent to a month's rent. As long as it works, it doesn't matter if it's expensive. We women have only one face in our life. The problem is the stock is too tight. I can't buy it at all. The women chatted about Yang to skincare products and then to their own lovers' children. Yang took Tsuehua to the market. Because the new year was coming, all the streets were filled with vendors selling couplets, firecrackers and various foods. It was extremely lively. It was different from the future, where due to environmental pollution, all kinds of fireworks are strictly prohibited. In this era, fireworks and firecrackers could be set off at will. But because they weren't cheap, not many people bought them. People at most bought a string of firecrackers to set off, just to make things a little festive. As for those who bought sparklers and fireworks were from wealthy families. Yang picked 2 strings of firecrackers and then a big bunch of sparklers and a big firework. Boss, how much are these? The stall owner, while calling to other customers, said, young girl, these add up to 15 yuan. 15 yuan could be equivalent to half a month's wage for a worker. Tsuehua, who was accustomed to a frugal life, couldn't help but counsel, Yang, we actually don't need that much. Yang smiled and said, the new year comes only once a year, let's make it festive. After saying that, she took out 15 yuan and gave it to the boss. Ordinary people who buy such expensive items would at least haggle over the price, but the stall owner didn't expect Yang to be so generous. She didn't bargain and directly bought it. This made the stall owner take a second look at Yang. With a second look, oh my. This young girl is also too good looking. The stall owner was secretly surprised. After buying the firecrackers and fireworks, Yang took Tsuehua to the food section. Since it was the new year, nuts and sunflower seeds were a must. But in this era you couldn't find premium nuts like Hawaiian nuts, pistachios, almonds at ordinary markets. What you saw were peanuts, fried rice candy, fried dough twists, sunflower seeds, fried broad beans and other common snacks. Then there were all kinds of candies. Xiaolong candy, lard candy and all kinds of fruit candies. Because there were many children in the village, Yang bought more candies and cookies. She also bought a few pounds of sunflower seeds, peanuts, broad beans and other roasted snacks. After buying these things, Yang shared her plan to buy some jewelry for Jianghu with Tsuehua. Tsuehua nodded in approval. That's fine, your Aunt is a good person, we should buy her something nice. With that said, the mother and daughter, carrying bags of goods, arrived at the jewelry shop. The salespeople in the jewelry shop were all sharp-eyed. They saw that Tsuehua and her daughter were well-dressed and pretty. Immediately, they enthusiastically greeted and helped them carry their bags, sweet-talking Tsuehua into a happy mood. Yang chose a necklace, a pair of earrings and a gold ring for Jianghu. These were the 3 pieces of gold that people in this era could only dream of. Chapter 262. Mysterious Boss Tricks Xianxia Rescuing Boss _6. After some thought, Yang picked out a similar one for Tsuehua. Tsuehua had led a tough life in her earlier years. Yang wanted her later years to be a little sweeter. Tsuehua immediately said, don't waste your money, child, I don't need this. I really don't need it. Yang laughed and replied, Mom, it's not that much money. Don't worry. Besides, gold can appreciate in value. The salesperson quickly gathered up the jewelry. Aunt, this is your daughter's show of filial piety. Please take them. It's hard to find such a good daughter these days, even with a lantern. A wide smile spread across Quihua's face. Indeed, it would be difficult to find a good daughter like Yang, even with a lantern. She must have saved up good karma in her past life to have such a wonderful daughter in this life. The total cost of the jewelry came to 3,000 yuan. While it was nothing to Yang, but for Tsuehua, it was a fortune. After all, she had never even seen 30 yuan in the past. Once they finished their shopping, the mother and daughter, carrying their purchases, headed in the direction of the noodle restaurant. Although it was already afternoon, the streets were still crowded with people, old and young, all crammed together. They rarely set foot outside even once a year, only taking the chance to explore during the holidays. Curiosity was irresistible. A small girl stood in the middle of the road, staring blankly at a candied hawthorn vendor, oblivious to the honking horn. A car was about to run into the little girl. A figure darted over, scooping her up and rolling out of the way at lightning speed. Screech! The sound of emergency brakes being activated echoed, missing the little girl by a whisker. If that person had moved even slightly slower, the consequences would be unimaginable. Wah! The little girl immediately burst into tears out of fright. Yang stood up holding the little girl, dusting off her clothes and gently comforting her. "It's okay now, it's okay." Catching sight of Yang from the back seat of the car, a clear view of her profile can be seen. It's the same girl again. A hint of a smile surfaced in the man sitting in the back seat. He stopped the driver from getting out of the car. "I'll go myself." "Chairman?" The driver was taken aback. The man was already getting out of the car. "I'm sorry, are you two all right?" The man walked over to Yang. "I'm fine." Yang shook her head. "The little girl might be a bit frightened though." The man continued, "Young lady, we really should thank you. If it weren't for you, we might be facing a lawsuit. My name is Xianxia. Here is my business card." If he hadn't witnessed it himself, he wouldn't have believed that a young girl could have shown such courage in the face of danger. In such situations, many people wouldn't risk themselves to save a child, even if they are sure they could. Everyone values their own life. Yang took the card. Her tone was light. "Please drive more carefully in the future. It's already the end of the year and nobody wants accidents." Turning her attention to the still sobbing little girl, she spoke softly, "Little girl, you can't stand in the middle of the road lost in thought, okay? It was very dangerous today. Remember, you only have one life." At her words, Xianxia was slightly taken aback. He had expected Yang to solely blame him and push all the responsibility onto him, since he was the one who started this. Surprisingly, Yang was teaching the little girl some lessons. It seemed she was not as he had imagined. Moreover, she didn't react particularly when she saw the business card. She was so calm, not like a young girl but more like someone who had seen the world. The little girl was terrified, covering her eyes and sobbing softly. Yang continued, "Stop crying now. How about I buy you a candied hawthorn stick, would you like that?" Upon hearing the words, candied hawthorn, the little girl instantly stopped crying, removing her hands from her eyes. Really? Yang nodded, "Of course it's true. But you have to promise me not to daydream in the middle of the road." "Okay, big sister, I promise you." The little girl blinked her eyes and then said, "Wow. Big sister, you are so pretty." Yang smiled gently, leading the little girl over to buy 2 sticks of candied hawthorn. With a candied hawthorn stick in hand, the little girl had a satisfied smile on her face. Xianxia followed over. Yang raised an eyebrow slightly. "Is there something else, Mr. Xianxia?" Chapter 263, Mysterious Boss Tricks. Zhang Xianjing rescuing boss and I under 7. Continuing, Xianxia said, "You did a favor for me, little girl, for which I haven't properly thanked you. There's a restaurant up ahead, how about we talk over a meal?" "No need," Yang declined gracefully. "It was a mere trifle, Mr. Xianxia, don't give it another thought." Yang didn't save people for rewards or for someone's gratitude. She just couldn't stand by and watch a vibrant life disappear before her eyes. In her second life, she not only cherished her own life, but the lives of others as well. But, as Xianxia tried to say something more, Yang cut him off. "If you truly feel bad about it, Mr. Xianxia, why don't you take this little friend home? It's quite unsafe for her to be here alone with cars coming and going." "Beautiful sister, I have a name. I'm called Xiaoxia," said the little girl, looking up at Yang. "Xiaoxia, would you like Big Brother to take you home?" Xianxia stretched his hand out to Xiaoxia. Xiaoxia slowly walked over, cautiously saying, "There are many human traffickers nowadays. Big Brother, you're not a bad person, right?" Yang replied, "Rest assured, Xiaoxia, this Big Brother is not a bad person." With her extensive experience, Yang could easily discern good from bad. If not, she wouldn't have so readily handed Xiaoxia over to him. As for Xianxia, he gave Yang a thoughtful look. Xiaoxia nodded. "Since beautiful sister said so, then I will go home with you." Xianxia let out a soft laugh. As they were leaving, Xiaoxia politely said goodbye to Yang. After walking a few steps, Xianxia turned back to look at Yang. "Little miss, may I ask your name?" "Yang," she replied with a light tone. "An I of the character pound, the yang of I caret FFIFIBG caret W and I yang." As expected, both the woman and her name were beautiful. It definitely surpassed the common names like Chunhua and Chuyue. Shangguansu nodded before leading Xiaoxue towards his car. Anai Yang approached Anai Tsuehua asking, "Mom, have you finished your shopping?" Anai Tsuehua was currently buying cured goods and hadn't noticed the previous events. "I bought some cured chicken and fish. Do you see anything else we should get?" Anai Yang looked at the cured goods stand. "Why don't we get more smoked meat?" Anai Tsuehua nodded. "All right, vendor, please cut us 5 pounds of smoked meat." By the time they finished purchasing the cured goods and returned to the noodle restaurant, it was already past 4 in the afternoon. The restaurant had already started doing business, and it was packed inside with a long line outside to boot. While little Nai Yun was sleeping, Nai Tsuehua also helped to cook the noodles and prepare the milk tea. Nai Yang, on the other hand, was busy out front. Even though Nai Tsuehua had always known that the noodle restaurant and milk tea shop were doing well, she hadn't realized it was to this extent. She had been there for almost an hour, and the line of people hadn't decreased at all. Despite being busy and tired, she felt happiness in her heart. At 7:30 in the evening, Nai Yang closed up shop promptly. Today was payday. Nai Yang had the envelopes ready and handed them out to everyone. "Aunt Zhou, Aunt Jinfeng, Aunt Suaping, Aunt Xiaoqin, this is your monthly salary." Wang Jinfeng looked at the money in the envelope. "Wait, Nai Yang, why is there an extra 60 yuan?" The monthly salary was 60 yuan, but Nai Yang had given 120. Hearing this, the others also checked their envelopes and found an extra 60 yuan. Nai Yang explained with a smile, "The new year is coming soon, this is your red envelope." Nai Yang was a good boss, she never mistreated her employees. Hearing this, the 4 of them all declined. The wages Nai Yang paid were already high, how could they accept her red envelope? Nai Yang continued, "Aunties, please accept it. It's a tradition to give red envelopes for good luck during the new year. If you don't accept it, it means you're looking down on the amount." No. "We're not looking down on the amount," Nai Yang interjected. "If that's the case, just accept it. They'll need you to put more effort into managing these 2 shops in the future." After the new year, Nai Yang planned to further expand her business, so she wouldn't have as much time to devote to these 2 shops. Zhou Qingshang said with a smile, "Nai Yang, what are you talking about? It's perfectly natural for us to work since you're paying us." Han Xiaoqin and Wang Cuaping added, Yes, that's right. We're supposed to do this, and Yang, you don't need to be so formal with us." And Yang continued, "Anyway, thank you for your hard work, aunties. Also, with the new year approaching, I've decided that we'll work till the 29th of the last lunar month and resume work on the 8th of the lunar new year. During these 7 days of rest, wages will still be paid normally." She wasn't a stingy boss. She was aware that her employees needed properly arranged resting periods. Moreover, the new year held great significance for Chinese people. If they had to work even during the new year, she would be an awful boss. She wasn't chasing after endless money and didn't care about a few days. Hearing this, the 4 of them were stunned. They didn't expect Nai Yang not only to give them red packets but also to give them a new year break. Nai Yang, Wang Jinfeng said, "Actually, you don't have to give us so many days off. Your business is so good, it would be a pity to close for so many days." The other 3 nodded. With the high salary Nai Yang gave, even if they didn't get a single day off, none of them would have any complaints. The 2 shops could earn 2,000 to 3,000 yuan a day. After 7 or 8 days of rest, that could amount to tens of thousands of yuan. Nai Yang explained with a smile, "That's all right. Actually, during the New Year period, most people will be busy with their own affairs, and there won't be many who will be dining out. Besides, you've been working hard for so long, it's time you took a break. Also, after the new year, I plan to hire a few more people from our village to help out and implement a rotation system for rest days, where everyone can have a day off every week." Chapter 264, Principle-Based Boss and I, Targeting Li Xianxian's Zheng Xianjinji. One should be content and not be greedy. Hearing this, all 4 of them refused. "We don't need a break, Yang, we're not tired at all. Indeed, this job is much more relaxed than working in the fields. I've gained quite a bit of weight since I started working here." "Me too, I've put on weight. Working at the noodle restaurant only requires washing dishes and cooking noodles, without need to endure scorching sun or drenching rain." They had not only gained weight but also their skin had become much fairer. Previously, when working at home all year round doing dirty and tiring farming work, they barely made any money. In a single month working at Nai Yang's, they earned as much as they did in a whole year at home. The 4 of them were genuinely grateful to Nai Yang. Nai Yang said with a smile, "How can you not rest? Work and relaxation should go hand in hand. Let's follow this plan next year." Yang, we really don't need to rest. Yes, we really don't need to rest. Still, the four of them insisted on refusing. And Yang continued, ladies, there's no need for you to refuse. You're not made of iron. How can you not rest? Plus, you all have elderlies and little ones at home. Use the break time to take care of your family. Hearing this, the four of them didn't know what to say. And Yang not only offered them the best treatment, gave them red envelopes and year-end holiday during Chinese New Year, but now she was also giving them 4 days off a month. They must work hard and not let Yang down. After taking care of this matter, Yang started to lock the door and leave. There were quite a lot of New Year goods purchased today, and the back seat couldn't fit anyone, so Tsuehua took the tram home with her child. At around 7 o'clock in the evening, the night temperature was very low, all the passengers on the tram were bundled up tightly, and a thick layer of ice had formed on the steps of the tram. Tsuehua, holding her child, didn't notice it, and her foot stepped on the ice surface, causing her and her child to lurch forward due to the sudden force. As she was about to fall to the ground, someone caught her just in the nick of time. "Comrade, are you okay?" A thick, kind voice sounded above Kuihua's head. Tsuehua was so scared that her heart raced. Looking up, she saw a man about 30 to 40 years old, with a square face, tall and thin figure, a typical intellectual, wearing a pair of black-rimmed glasses, and emanating an elegant demeanor. They were standing a bit too close, and Tsuehua didn't want to cause any misunderstanding. She hurriedly took a step back while holding her child, repeatedly bowing in gratitude. "I'm fine, thank you." "Thank you." If it hadn't been for this middle-aged man acting swiftly, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Tsuehua felt a chill run down her spine. The middle-aged man casually adjusted his glasses. "It was the least I could do, you don't need to be so polite. Is the child okay?" Little Yin seemed to understand the middle-aged man's words. He didn't look scared at all and even looked up and smiled at him, babbling as if he wanted to talk. The 6-month-old baby was plump and fair, with clear and bright eyes, a clean face without a trace of dribble or snot, looking as lovely as the babies in New Year paintings. In this era, families usually had 5 or 6 or even more children, and there was no time for parents to take care of them since they were busy working. Therefore, elder children were usually the ones taking care of the younger ones. It was rare to see anyone take such good care of their child. The middle-aged man couldn't help but take another look at little Yun, then finally looked closely at Tsuehua. No wonder she could raise such a lovely child. She was no ordinary person. Talking with a strange man for the first time, Tsuehua was a bit apprehensive. "My child is fine too, thanks to you just now." The middle-aged man continued, "The roads are slippery in the snow. You should be careful when carrying a child." "You're right." Tsuehua nodded nervously. Without saying much else, the middle-aged man returned to his seat and continued reading the newspaper. Tsuehua also found an empty seat and sat down. The tram slowly started moving. Along the way, people kept getting on and off the tram. When Tsuehua looked up again, the middle-aged man who had helped her was no longer on the tram. Such a kind man he was. Tsuehua thought. Outside the tram, a black bicycle slowly passed by. Chapter 265. Principle-based boss targeting Li Xianxian's Xianxia_2. If Tsuehua were to look down, she would definitely see that the middle-aged man who just left is now sitting in the back seat of the car, conversing with a young man. And if Yin were there, she would definitely notice that the young man is Shangguansu. The car was much faster than a bicycle, so Tsuehua arrived home before Yin. It wasn't until Tsuehua had put the kids to bed that Yin arrived home by bike. Tsuehua quickly helped Yin unload the goods and wash the vegetables. That evening, Yin planned to cook some preserved pork with steamed rice, accompanied by a few beauty-enhancing dishes. At dinner time, Yin gave Qingui the 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer she had just finished making. "Auntie, this is the whitening moisturizer ordered by the mysterious customer last time, could you please deliver them to her?" "Okay," Qingui replied, cheerfully accepting them. Yin then picked up a small round box and handed it to Qingui. "Oh, Auntie, I've recently developed a new anti-wrinkle cream, you can take it and see how it works." "Anti-wrinkle?" Qingui's eyes lit up. "Can it remove wrinkles?" Aging and wrinkles are a woman's worst enemies. Hearing about an anti-wrinkle cream, how could Qingui not be excited? Yin nodded, "Yes." Qingui laughed, Yang, you are amazing." She was truly lucky to have met Yin on the train. Yin smiled faintly, "Auntie, don't rush to praise me yet, we still don't know if it's effective." This anti-wrinkle cream was also something Yen had just developed. The products she newly develops are not immediately sold but are first given to the people around her, to Lin Pingping, to Wang Meifeng. Now that the brand Skin as Ice and Jade is well established, they don't know how many people envy Ai Qinggui, Wang Meifeng, and Lin Pingping for getting to use the products that others can't buy. This is also a way of winning hearts. After all, Ai Yen is a businesswoman, she never makes unprofitable investments. Ai Qinggui said, Yang, can anything you research ever be bad? Andy guarantees this anti-wrinkle cream will certainly be good. It will be another bestseller. Ai Yen laughed, then I hope your good words come true. The next day, Ai Qinggui brought the 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer to the company, handed them to her colleagues and blurted out, Xiaolin, who the heck is this person who ordered 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer from you? They are really wealthy, aren't they? Although it had been many days since the incident, Ai Qinggui still couldn't help her surprise. One should know that's 24,000 yuan. Jialan said, I'm not exactly sure who she is either, all I know is that she's my daughter's classmate. One heard her family is very wealthy, she has a boyfriend who is a high-ranking leader, she lives in a mansion and 20,000 yuan to her is like 2 yuan to us. In the eyes of ordinary people 20,000 yuan is a huge amount of money, but to the rich 20,000 yuan is simply insignificant. Oh, One Ai Qinggui nodded, sighing, it is good to be rich. Jialan continued, by the way, has Skin as Ice and Jade come out with any new products recently? Loving beauty is every woman's nature. Skin as Ice and Jade has great effects, so everyone is looking forward to new products every day. Now, new products hardly need any promotion. As soon as they're released, they're immediately sold out. Ai Qinggui gave a mysterious smile, you guess. Seeing her like this, Jialan could already guess, lowered her voice and said, what product is it? Let me know, one promise I won't tell anyone else. Ai Qinggui whispered, this time it's an anti-wrinkle cream, it should be available for purchase in a few days. But I estimate the price is likely to be around the same as the whitening moisturizer. Upon hearing it was an anti-wrinkle cream, Jialan's eyes immediately lit up. She quickly responded, I don't mind the price as long as it works. Look at these crow's feet of mine, they are unbearable to look at. Qinggui, we have such a good relationship, you must save a box for me. It seemed like Ai Qinggui suddenly remembered something and asked, by the way Xiaolin, your husband teaches at our city's high school, right? Yes, Jialan nodded. Ai Qinggui laughed, what grade does he teach? Although Jialan was somewhat puzzled, she still answered, this year he's teaching 10th grade, next year he'll be teaching 11th grade. 11th grade, excellent. Chapter 266, Principle-Based Boss and I, Targeting Li Xianxian's Zheng Xianjing 3. Ai Qinggui often heard Ai Yang saying that she was going to take the college entrance examination. The college entrance examination was reintroduced in 1977. For an outsider to join and take the local entrance exam was not an easy matter. If she could smooth the path through Jialan, it would solve one of Ai Yang's troubles. Ai Qinggui was not someone oblivious of things. Given that Ai Yang had helped her so much in every way, she naturally had to figure out how to help Ai Yang. She couldn't always be on the receiving end of Ai Yang's help. Ai Qinggui then said, Xiaolin, could you go back and ask your husband if his class is still accepting transferee students? Those who directly participate in the college entrance examination. I have a relative who came from another city who wants to participate in next year's exam. Jialan nodded, Qinggui, isn't this a matter of a word? And about that anti-wrinkle cream, could you help me keep an eye on that? Having someone in the family as a teacher, this favor was not at all troubling for Jialan. Ai Qinggui smiled and nodded, all right then, I will surely reserve a box of the anti-wrinkle cream for you. Great, great. When Li Xianxian received the 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer from her classmate, she didn't know how to describe how she felt. For these 30 boxes of moisturizer, she sold all valuable jewelry, sold her blood and even borrowed thousands from her classmates. Now asking her to give these away, she was somewhat reluctant. Despite her reluctance, Li Xianxian still agreed with these young ladies, and delivered the whitening moisturizers. Wow, Xianxian, you are amazing. You managed to order so much whitening moisturizer. Xianxian, thank you so much. Thank you. Li Xianxian was surrounded by everyone, her face was filled with a dignified smile. There's no need to thank me, I've had a bit of dealings with the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin, this isn't a big deal. Where people are, there will be gossip. And these daughters of wealthy families were no exceptions. Xianxian, how did you know the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin? Li Xianxian said, it was just a casual encounter. Is the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin a man or a woman? Li Xianxian smiled, in keeping that a secret. Seeing her like this, they had already figured out the answer. Oh, I see. The boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin must be a man, right? Does he like you? I think he surely likes Xianxian, otherwise he would not have gone as far as giving 30 boxes of whitening moisturizer. It's infuriating to compare people. We can't even buy one box and Xianxian casually gets 30. Yes. Everyone echoed, he surely likes Xianxian. Li Xianxian, covering her face embarrassingly, said, don't rant about it. I already have someone I like. Her words were an affirmation in a way. The crowd looked on with envy. Was Li Xianxian's romantic fortune not too good? First there was Mo Baichuan, the eldest grandson of the Mo family, and then the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin. The men she met were all outstanding. Why didn't they have such luck? Xianxian, what's the name of the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin? Is he handsome? Is he as handsome as the cream of the crop on TV? Facing everyone's gossiping, Li Xianxian softly said, he is a very low-key person, I should not be saying too much. Her words were extremely artful, and everyone had already worked out from this that the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin must be a very handsome person. They were all even more envious of Li Xianxian. Li Xianxian was thoroughly enjoying the envy of everyone, and was extremely satisfied in her heart. Looking back on how she was a poor village girl who had nothing 3 years ago, and now she's chatting and discussing with these lavishly dressed daughters, talking and being in the limelight. What about being a daughter of a rich family? Even the daughters of rich families were envious of her, the village girl. Li Xianxian could hardly wait to announce her success to the whole world. Let those people who used to look down on her see she now is also a part of high society. Now they were already too low for her. Is the boss of Ice Skin Jade Skin as handsome as Mo Baichuan? Someone asked. Li Xianxian blushed a little and said, in my heart, no one can compare with Baichuan. Hearing this, everyone laughed and teased Li Xianxian. Mo Baichuan? Upon hearing this name, Jing Xianjing, who was sitting there drinking coffee, glanced over here. Chapter 267. Principle-based boss and I, targeting Li Xianxian's Zheng Xianjing _4. Although Zheng Xianjing did enjoy using skin brightening and moisturizing cream, her grudges with Li Xianxian prevented her from joining the fun. As far as she knew, Li Xianxian was a very ambitious woman. Now that Mr. Mog, a significant figure, was here in Beijing, it was unlikely that Li Xianxian would take any interest in Mo Baichuan. Unless Mo Baichuan was Mr. Mog himself. Moreover, the profile she had caught a glimpse of previously did resemble Mo Baichuan quite closely. And Mr. Mog had connections with the Mo family. Mo Baichuan himself was incredibly talented. He had even studied abroad for 4 years, and Mr. Mog had also recently returned from overseas. The more Zheng Xianjing thought about it, the more she became convinced that Mo Baichuan was Mr. Mog. The sense of crisis in her heart deepened. If things continued as they were and Mo Baichuan and Li Xianxian grew closer, she would no longer stand a chance. She needed to figure out a way to get Mo Baichuan to notice her. She stirred her coffee, a spark flickering briefly in her eyes. Just who did Li Xianxian think she was? Nothing more than an orphan no one wanted. Did she really think she could compete with her over Mo Baichuan? The business at the noodle restaurant and milk tea shop was now steadily increasing, so Yang didn't need to spend so much time worrying, and instead she decided to focus all her energy on developing skincare products. Although ordinary facial cleansers, aloe vera gel, etc. were bringing her about 200 to 3,000 yuan in income each month, and the skin brightening and moisturizing cream had a fixed income of 3,000 yuan, she hadn't yet reached her ideal goal. She wanted to expand her skincare business, transition to brick-and-mortar stores, open branches, and eventually operate on a national and then global chain level. Yang mulled over the skincare product line even as she busied herself in the milk tea shop. She remembered a high-end department store at Beijing city center. Despite countless trials and tribulations, it remained prosperous even in later years. If she could set up her skincare company's flagship store in that mall, it would elevate its status. Always the woman of action, Yang decided to use her lunch break to visit the department store. The mall was decorated in a European style, and a large poster hung on its exterior. The poster was not overly fancy. At the top, it simply read, News Bulletin in traditional Chinese characters. Advertisements were only featured below the news bulletin. Even the font used was simple and straightforward, unlike the artistic typefaces common in later years. Yang looked over the square, then glanced at the surrounding residential community, making a mental note to buy more properties around this area in the future. If her memory served her correctly, by future years, the property prices here would have soared to 7 figures per square meter, and that's starting with a 2. Of course, she planned to buy properties in both Beijing and Shanghai, as well as other first-tier cities. After all, who would complain about having too much money? Withdrawing her gaze, Yang headed inside the mall. After browsing the skincare counters on the first floor, she noticed that the saleswomen were not particularly enthusiastic. They were indifferent to customers, answered reluctantly when questioned, and never proactively recommended products. They didn't even bother to put on a friendly face. It would be truly surprising if they could sell anything with that attitude. Yang frowned discreetly. She had to remember to avoid this pitfall and not follow the trend. After making a few inquiries, Yang finally reached the mall management's office, which was responsible for renting out stalls. The person in charge of the mall was a slightly overweight middle-aged woman named Zhou Hua, who was 40. Simply glancing at Yang, Zhou Hua responded with indifference, "There will be no stalls available for rent before the Chinese New Year." At that time, all the stalls in the mall were managed by Chinese companies, so everyone involved in their management, regardless of their position, were considered leaders. At least 70 to 80 people came to rent a stall each day, and with the ready availability of stalls, there was no fear of them going vacant, which somewhat provoked their arrogance. They also looked down upon individual stall holders. An individual stall holder wishing to sell products here had to appeal to them. But who could blame them? At this time, individual stall holders' profession was deemed the least promising. Yang didn't take offense at Zhou Hua's attitude. After all, she was currently on the begging end of the deal. Will there be stalls available after the Chinese New Year? Ask about the availability after the Chinese New Year once it's actually the Chinese New Year, Zhou Hua responded impatiently. Okay, thank you, Yang replied, unfazed by Zhou Hua's impatience. She set a box on the counter. I understand that your mall only accepts high-quality products. That's why I've brought a set of skincare product samples for you today. Please try them. I believe their quality will not disappoint. They'll come back after the Chinese New Year. Chapter 268, Principle-Based Boss and I, Targeting Li Xianxian's Zheng_5. Yang is a person who understands the art of living. She knows what to do at what time. When it's time to be humble, she knows better than to act defiantly. Yang's over 20 years of business experience from her previous life didn't go to waste. Zhou Hua had not yet realized what was happening, and Yang had already turned around to leave. Zhou Hua glanced at the light green box. 4 characters were reflected on the box: ice skin and jade complexion. Zhou Hua took the box to her office and casually threw it next to the trash bin. They received countless gifts like this every day. If they were to accept each one, how many vendors would they have to admit into the mall each year? Not everyone is qualified to sell in the mall. Especially the young girl who came today. She is so beautiful, she must be unstable. What good product could she possibly produce? People like this are even less qualified to be in the mall. Zhou Hua's comment about waiting until after the new year was just a veiled form of rejection. Just before closing time, an incredulous scream suddenly echoed in the office. Alt? Who threw away this trash? Min, what's the matter? Zhou Hua walked over. Wu Min pointed to the green box by the trash bin and said, Who threw the ice skin and jade complexion in the trash? Zhou Hua asked in confusion. I did. Is there a problem? Wu Min said incredulously, Zhou Hua, how could you throw such a good product in the trash? Do you know how many people want to buy a set of ice skin and jade complexion but can't? Zhou Hua was taken aback, somewhat unable to understand what Wu Min was talking about. Wu Min quickly picked up the ice skin and jade complexion box from the trash. Zhou Hua, do you still want this ice skin and jade complexion? If you don't want it, I'm taking it. Ice skin and jade complexion? A few young colleagues crowded around when they heard this. Where is the ice skin and jade complexion? Oh my god. It's the ice skin and jade complexion gift box. Wu Min, you're amazing. You actually got the ice skin and jade complexion gift box. Hurry up and see if there's whitening moisturizer and their new wrinkle cream inside. I've wanted to buy it for a long time. I couldn't get it. Zhou Hua. Wu Min looked at Zhou Hua. Do you still want this or not? If you don't want it, I can open it. Everyone is waiting to see. Yes, of course I want it. Zhou Hua reached out and took the box. I didn't say I don't want it. She initially threw it away because she didn't realize the skincare product was such a hot seller. Now that she knows, of course she took it back. She can't let such a hot item go to waste. It's funny how human nature works. Even though it's something they don't value, they might not want to let go when everyone else wants it. Wu Min didn't mind, continuing to say, Zhou, how could you throw it in the trash just now? That's such a waste. Zhou laughed. I may have made a mistake earlier. By the way, is this ice skin and jade complexion really as good as you say it is? Zhou still found it slightly unbelievable. Before Wu Min could answer, someone from the side couldn't help saying, of course. Ice skin and jade complexion is the best skincare product I have ever used. Especially the whitening moisturizer. After using it, it feels like I have new skin. And the cleansing milk is also really good. Zhou, stop teasing us, open the gift box so we can see. I've never bought the gift box version of ice skin and jade complexion. Someone else said, this gift box, like the whitening moisturizer, is a limited edition. Of course you can't buy it. I spent a long time trying to buy the whitening moisturizer last month, and this is the first time I've seen the gift box version. Under everyone's eager anticipation, Zhou opened the gift box. There were 7 skincare products in total in the gift box. Zhou had never used ice skin and jade complexion. She wasn't aware of how in demand it was. Her colleagues, on the other hand, were thrilled. Oh my god. There really are whitening moisturizer and wrinkle cream. How exciting. Finally, I get to see what the wrinkle cream looks like. Zhou, I want to buy this whitening moisturizer. Can you sell it to me? How about 150 yuan? Wu Min picked up the box of whitening moisturizer. 150? Zhou was shocked. She only made 45 yuan a month, and Wu Min was willing to pay 150 yuan for a small box of skincare. Wu Min continued, Zhou, although the whitening moisturizer is hard to buy, but 150 yuan is a high price. Think about it, its regular price is only 108 yuan. Can you sell it to me? Chapter 269, Principle-Based Boss and I, Targeting Li Xianxian's Xianxia_6. Original price 108 yuan? Zhou was stunned again. She had not expected the whitening moisturizing cream to be so expensive. Zhou, since Minmin wants to buy the whitening moisturizing cream, how about you sell me the anti-wrinkle cream? 1 am willing to pay 150 yuan for it. I also want to buy. For a moment, her colleagues had a burning desire to buy the skincare products in Zhou's hands. Zhou also realized the value of the ice skin and jade flesh and smiled. I'm sorry, this one's for me. If you guys want to buy it, you can go get it yourselves. Zhou, if we could buy it ourselves, why would we pay a premium here? You have no idea how popular the ice skin and jade flesh are. Zhou wore a smile on her face, thinking that she's really struck gold this time. Wu Min then asked, Zhou, how did you manage to buy such a gift box of ice skin and jade flesh? Do you have some connection? The other colleagues also asked one after another, all hoping to have Zhou buy some on their behalf. Zhou simply made up an excuse to dismiss her colleagues. After leaving the rental office, Ni Yang didn't leave immediately, but continued to stroll around the clothing area, aiming to buy 2 sets of New Year clothes for Ni Tsuehua and little Ni Yun. It was very cold in Beijing, so Ni Yang planned to buy 2 down jackets. At this time, down jackets were premium products, with prices as high as 200 or 300 yuan, which ordinary people couldn't afford. Of course, the quality was also extremely good. A down jacket could be worn for more than 10 years without any issue, which far outmatches the branded down jackets of future generations. However, the designs of down jackets at this time were generally the same. Long, straight, shapeless, with a hood attached at the back and a belt tied in the middle. There was also a faint odor of duck down. Ni Yang picked a wine-colored down jacket for Ni Tsuehua with embroidered cuffs. Then she selected a bright red one for little Ni Yun and another bright red one for herself. Actually, Ni Yang preferred more muted colors, but it was the new year, so a more festive color was appropriate. People in this period were a bit conservative. If you wore white or light-colored clothes to someone else's house during the new year, the host might be somewhat displeased. It didn't really matter on ordinary days. After some thought, Ni Yang chose a down jacket of the same style for Ni Qingui. Having selected all the down jackets, Ni Yang took the one shed chosen for herself to the fitting room to try on. Because she was not used to wearing such bright colors, Ni Yang felt a little apprehensive. As soon as she stepped out of the fitting room, the shop assistant exclaimed, Miss, this down jacket looks so good on you. Red is a very glamorous color. People with slightly less attractive looks might be overshadowed by the red color. But, when this red down jacket was worn by Ni Yang, the red color itself seemed to dull in comparison. Red is not an easy color to pull off. It requires fair skin, distinct facial features and a good figure, but every inch of Ni Yang was perfect. Even though it was a straight-fit down jacket, it looked uniquely appealing and flawless on her, no matter how you looked at it. Even the shop assistant, who prided herself on her superior taste, could not help exclaiming. She secretly thought to herself, this is definitely a rich daughter. Yang stood in front of the mirror with a slight smile in her eyes. She was pleased with this down jacket. Not far away, a young man was accompanying an elderly man choosing clothes. Suddenly, he glanced over and was surprised to see a familiar figure. His eyes lit up with amazement. Wherever you go, there you are. Isn't that an Yang? Shangguansu gave a smile, speaking to the old man beside him. Grandma, you wait here for a while, I'll be back shortly. Go ahead. The old man kindly nodded his head. After trying on the down jacket, Yang also took an interest in a light-colored cheongsam. She loved cheongsams to the point where she could not resist them. Although wearing a cheongsam in winter is quite cold, she could wear it with layers inside and add a down jacket on top to keep warm. She didn't need to try on the cheongsam. Yang then said, plus that cheongsam, let's go pay for everything. Okay. The cashier took all the clothes and went to the checkout with Yang. Miss, the payment for these clothes has been made by someone already. The cashier politely informed her. Someone already paid. You're tuning in to the Phantom Sword Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.